Hopefully no interference here. It's 9 to noon on The Game. Billy Schmidt alongside Armin Sarian and two-time Super Bowl champion John Kuhn with you on the NicolaLaw.com talk and text line. So I've watched baseball a long time. It's actually my one love that never really loved me back. Couldn't play. Was really, really bad at it. Love the game. Love throwing the ball to myself into the backyard with the net. And I would pitch for hours while listening to Bob Uecker. John Kuhn, while Armin Sari and I are in section 232 last night, row 9.
Hold on a second. I want to know what happened with this baseball career. What happened with this baseball career?
Not a damn thing. Once I got to high school, I traded in the mitt, grabbed the microphone.
T-ball. You did T-ball.
I did. Yes.
7 to 9.
Oh yeah. 100%.
10 to 12.
Yeah. I played travel ball probably until maybe I was 11 or 12. And then I was like, yeah, I'm the eight hole hitter. I'm not helping anybody here.
What do you mean?
Yeah, it was
hole. That's still a spot, Billy. What do you mean? Baseball didn't give up on you. You gave up on baseball.
Yeah, I wasn't that good on it. I wasn't that good at it. I would have loved to, but it was the one that never loved me back. I traded it in high school for the microphone, and then I kept the book and sang the national anthem and announced the hitters coming up.
What was your field position?
First base. Fat kid.
I think you're perfect for first base. I can't believe you gave up on it.
Pear-shaped youth like myself, they gave a first baseman's mitt to and said, that's ticketed for you.
For you're playing first, you got to produce offense. And if you weren't producing
defensive specialist.
That means your worst.
Many would call you the Hoover vacuum over there because you suck everything up. Well, that and the snacks after.
First base is a lot different in Little League and high school than what it is in the pros are.
That's a good point.
Like if you can stop the errant throw, you are as valuable as any position, especially in Little League. The first baseman is like the most important position. He gets the ball it's like the quarterback or the center, one or the other. He gets the ball. He gets to touch the ball almost every play.
His defensive positioning is important, right? Your defensive zone rating is huge.
It's the only position in baseball where height is a fact. Like that helps you. You put it right there, right next to your batting average when you're in Little League.
At least you were good enough to do travel ball though. Or is that one of those where everyone was doing it then at that point?
Yeah, I mean, I did it with my friends. We were good, and then it got a lot more competitive. And I'm like, you know what? There's way too many games. I'm not missing the whole summer for this. So yeah, it was a bad deal. I gave up on it, and then went to listen and watch and love my Milwaukee Brewers.
Sure.
And in all of that time, I can't say what Armin Sarian and I watched last night at American Family Field that I have ever seen before of backswing interference. Not only, John, on a pass ball. Like I've seen catcher's interference. I've seen it get called when a catcher throws the ball and it hits the batter who's standing in the batter's box and a runner stealing second base. Like, hey man, whatever. I'm standing here. You better move around me. I've seen that. I've never seen it in that situation. And I had to wait till this morning to see it because good Lord, it's nice at a Brewers game. It's a great facility. It's an incredible game day experience.
It's great. It was fun to,
but fantastic. It is freaking absent of replays. We had no idea what the hell was going on last night.
No, but the logo looked good. That logo on the scoreboard that they put up for that 5 minutes, that's what they put up there.
That was sweet.
Just one shot of the logo, the Brewers logo. That thing will look good. Let me tell you.
Yeah, and you were staring at that, waiting for that to come down so you could get one little replay to find out. All right,
come on here.
Did he hit him?
No.
Did the catcher lean over the plate? What exactly happened here? Do we need to start making a catcher's box now? What are we doing here?
They kind of have one, don't they? Catchers?
They do, but
it's not
I don't know. It's not the same as the batter's box per se.
It was a bummer too because we had some good. We were looking for any sort of vibes last night because we're sitting there at the game and there's obviously no one scored a run except for the double play in the first that gave the Brewers their 1-0 deficit.
That one idiot in our section bet for there not to be a run scored in the first inning, and it was the only inning in the entire game where there's a run scored. I wonder who that was.
I'm not laughing, Billy. I'm not laughing.
That guy's an idiot.
It's just crazy that actually happened. And the Brewers couldn't score, so we're looking for anything. Then finally, we're cooking in the final inning there.
With gas. Lead off double by Sal Frelick.
See, Sal Frelick.
Let's ride.
Gets him over third. Wild pitch. We think there's another wild pitch. Luddy's shaking me, thinking we tied the game. And I said, wait a minute. The ump called it foul because I thought he called it foul from our vantage point. But then we realized what happened. After a while, thank goodness we had John the engineer on Reddit figuring it out.
One guy trying to load up the Bally's app 3 rows behind us to tell us what was going on. It was an absolute cluster at the back end of the game. And all we needed, John, was Ed or Sean Hockley to come out and say, so here's the penalty being assessed. It was a 2-strike count. The ball went behind the catcher, and that's when the contact was made. It is ultimately going to be batter out, runners return, replay 2 outs, right? Like we needed him to come out and cut a comedy skit, but instead there's no microphone, no information. We're sitting here like, what the heck just happened? Sal Frelick's walking back to third. What a massive buzzkill
it was
in our 2 hour and 30-minute game.
Yeah.
When John was there for 4.5 hours on Sunday and got everything under the sun possibly to happen in a baseball game.
Yeah, I'd have rather left after 2.5 hours. I'm not going to lie. Sitting there.
That's because you were with Matt.
Sitting there about what you're saying. He's a bad time. No, sitting there at about the 3:20 mark with 2.5 innings to go. I thought, God, I got to watch. This might be the longest game the Brewers play all season long. Yep. You guys come the next night. 2 hours and 25 minutes, 2 hours and 30 minutes max. At least you got to see Murph get kicked out. I was begging for Murph to get kicked out when that throw hit the judge's palm. I was begging for, come on, Murph. We have your over under with the game here at 9.5. 9.5 on the season.
Yeah.
You need to get one. He doesn't have one yet. Didn't get one in our game. I was pissed. I was upset about it. I saw everything else. I saw home runs. I saw double plays. I saw interferences, not be called interferences. I saw an incredible trap in the outfield. I mean, I saw all kinds of stuff in the game. I wanted to see Murph get kicked out, and damn it, you guys got it.
And the best part is
so mad too.
Oh my God, he's so mad. And so this is Pat Murphy. We have this from after the game. So Pat Murphy, endearing himself to a lot of fans, right? Now we got a chance.
I really like Murph. I didn't know I was going to like him this much, Billy. It is something else. It makes me feel like I'm watching softball, like beer league softball, traveling beer league softball. Pennsylvania, when I was big softball following, really big,
okay,
and we travel to like Northern Virginia to try and do like the East Coast. My grandfather, he was a fire chief, but he was the manager of this softball team for like 50 years.
He loved it.
Taught me everything about baseball, softball. That's what Murph reminds me of, man. He just, what's the splash for, by the way?
Okay, I didn't want to interrupt the story, but what was that? What was the splash?
You say he's a fire chief. They're putting out fires with water, right? These days.
Oh, okay.
Holy cow. Okay.
That's where we go.
That was a reach. Okay.
Yeah, it was a reach to have water for a fireman. No, that's what they do. I'm thinking next level. Okay, go ahead.
But that's what I feel like with Murph. I feel like we all get to watch Murph on television. We can all identify with him so well. Right.
Sure.
Craig Counsell. There's something about Craig and very successful manager. We know this, but there was something about Craig, former player, very analytical, never really felt like he was one of the fan. Never really felt like he identified with the fan, or at least I as a fan didn't feel like I identified with him. In fact, more times than not, I'm like, come on, Craig, show some damn emotion.
Well, he didn't get mad often. Yeah.
Not with Murph. Murph is like, he's out there feeling every pitch along with us. It's so much fun.
And the best part is, John, after all of that, after he's kicking dirt, and he's chest bumping.
I thought he touched him at one point.
Third base umpire who came in to try to calm the situation down because he knew that it was maybe potentially messed up.
Brian Knight at third, yeah.
Who hasn't, after, maybe getting a little too angry the night before, brought flowers back as you explained something, right? Maybe grab some coffee in the morning to explain the situation. What does Pat Murphy do to make himself calm down a little bit, not be as upset, maybe be a little bit more lenient MLB as he bashes the umpiring crew for the mistake? Well, why don't I bring my grandkids up to the podium? Like, that's fantastic. Say, hey, you guys can't be all that mad at me because I just got all that mad. I got my grandkids over here, all right? So I'm going to keep it toned down, but I am going to bash the umpiring crew.
Good point.
That's awesome. Listen, hey, I can read it to you. I got it right here.
I'm not the smartest guy.
I'm not the smartest guy in the room.
He's not wrong. He's absolutely right. Yeah. And this is the difficulty in it. You're not supposed to get a situation where a batter swings at a wild pitch. It's not supposed to happen, right? That's why this rule is created the way it's created, is because if you swing on a strike three and impede the catcher from catching the ball, you're assuming that the pitch is actually making it to the catcher, not bouncing 6 inches in front of the plate. That's the problem.
Yeah. That's a hell of an assumption, apparently.
He also makes up a good point about the flaw.
He didn't, because the deal is, if you're breaking this down, like by the actual language, he didn't impede the catcher from catching the ball.
Correct.
Not at all.
Correct.
The catcher didn't catch the ball because it landed in front of the plate. Like, give me a break here. That's the problem with this thing. And, you know, the Brewers got jobbed 2 nights in a row off of umpires thinking too much, off of umpires. Man, well, this is technically what Aaron Judge is sliding with his hand up in the air. I don't care if he does it every single time he slides. That's not a natural slide for a 7 foot tall guy. And I know he's not 7 feet, but for a 7 foot tall man, for a 7 foot tall man to stick his arm up in the air every time he slides, you could tell me he's putting it in front so he doesn't get hit in the face. Then put your damn hand in front of your face. Don't put it up in the air. I'm not buying it for a minute. I think that was an awful call. I think last night was an awful call. And it happens throughout the year. You get jobbed from time to time. It's a shame it's just happened 2 nights in a row.
And the pool report was after the game. Pool reporter Kurt Hogue, Chris Guccione was the crew chief. Ryan had at the plate. He's talking about Ryan Addington, the umpire. In this situation was swinging strike three. The ball got away from the catcher, but on the batter's backswing, hit the catcher in the helmet. At that point, once the play is over, the ball is then dead, because in that case, the catcher still has an opportunity to make a play on the ball if the guy was stealing or he had been there and gotten the guy out of the plate. So he had to leave the ball in play until everything is done. Then at that point, you enforce the backswing interference. So in this case, it was a third strike to Bowers, and all runners go back. So his point, and he referenced the rule 603A 3 and 4. And the disagreement seems to be is anytime the batter hits the bat hits the helmet, is it automatically catcher or backswing interference, and is it automatically over? And that was, the point that Pat had is that it shouldn't be a hard and fast rule. It should be a judgment call by you if it was actually backswing interference, or if the ball if it's never interfered with because you couldn't get the ball right. And
this is all stuff I would have loved to know. This is all stuff me with a couple 2-tree beers, potentially in me at the game. This is all stuff I would have liked to know in the stadium, but it would have helped it and influenced the situation. But John, you're exactly right. You got hosed back-to-back days, and what does baseball have you do? You come right back and play here tonight. It's one thing that I always marvel at these cats for, to go in, and if for the guys that are covering the team here today, they'll have left it at home. They'll have left last night's game far earlier than we have in the rearview mirror, and say, well, can't do anything about it now. Like that's the tough part about this game, is it's going to happen. You're going to get hosed. It probably shouldn't, but at some point you're going to be the side of a bad bounce, a bad call. And it's about how you end up responding to it. And I like that Murph responded, shuts it down. He'll say something, and then it'll be put in the rearview mirror. Let's go kick some butt here coming up on Tuesday night.
I have the last several years, and I didn't think all that much of it. I would get pissed, for a little bit when referees would mess up in the games that I played in. Never once thought the game was fixed. Never once thought, people were trying things. And in the last couple of years, I especially talking, I noticed how much people get into referees and umpires and making bad calls.
Sure,
and how can't we just get every call right? I don't think that's that's the goal, but it's not the expectation out of any of these leagues, right? I think I heard Roger Goodell talking with Bill Belichick in an interview, and they were asked about the landscape of officiating in the NFL. And they both both Roger Goodell and Bill Belichick. And Bill Belichick can't really like refs. I didn't think Bill Belichick liked anybody.
Yeah, I didn't
but
think
now
he
all of a sudden,
anything.
Bill Belichick gets a microphone in front of him. He likes Roger Goodell, the guy who was in charge of suspending his quarterback multiple times and punishing them draft picks. He likes him for some reason. He likes the referees. He says, I think they're trying to do a good job. Roger Goodell says he thinks they're doing the best that they can. And it's trying to reach perfection in an imperfect way with human beings. And I don't think the expectation is to ever get everything 100% correct. And honestly, I don't know if sports would be that much more fun if it was 100% correct every single time. I kind of like the fact that there is this human element called a referee to potentially impede your team from time to time.
Yeah, both teams play with them. Right? Like, I mean, it's like the weather to me. Both teams are ultimately going to play with them. And at some point, it is going to come back.
And every now and then, you might accidentally hit on a number that you shouldn't hit on and end up winning by accident because a referee's there on your side, and you don't apologize for them. What do we always say when a referee makes a call that's beneficial to you that is absolute crap? We say, well, we deserved that one.
Yeah,
for some reason we deserved that one because we've been ripped off.
We had one coming.
That one. We had one coming.
Yeah, I mean, it was funny. You
make three more and we'll be even.
You make a good point. It does make it more fun. Exactly. It does make it more fun. I mean, there was another bad call earlier in the night on the third base line that we were going crazy about. They kind of had a rough night down the line.
7 minutes.
That was so obvious. But the only reason,
the actual baseball innings, like half innings, none took longer than the two video reviews.
Because they were reviewed. I mean, it needed to be reviewed because Brian Knight couldn't turn his fat butt around in time to see. Oh, the ball was clearly fair. He just missed it.
You're a butt shamer. Are you butt shaming right now?
No, it's not a butt
thing. Should have heard this guy at the game yesterday. Shaming everyone's butts walking by.
Shaming. What's going on? You don't like these new pants from Fanatics?
No, the Fanatics.
You're liking the Lululemon
ones. They're not good for the dump
today.
They're not good for the junk in the trunk.
Whatever it is.
Too junky.
Point is, the ball was clearly fair down the third base line. I'm like, how's this guy calling a foul? What a joke. We're right on the line. The chalk's flying up in the air. It was barely even touching the line on the fair side.
Yeah, it was clearly
so
fair.
It was just funny. I mean, but you need replay for these things to be overturned, or else that would have been ridiculous.
No junk in this kid's trunk. Just straight facts.
I'm not even going to talk about the junk in the trunk thing. I don't even know what you're talking about. Okay.
I like that you're taking care of that new fender you got. Armin is parking his car as far away from everybody at the Megaplex, John, as humanly possible.
Yeah, I got
driving. I'm like, who's parked over by the dumpster?
It's
Armin.
Fixed.
He finally got the dent fixed. He is not taking any chances.
Wait until that dumpster gets picked up and they accidentally drop it on his head.
You're probably right.
That's all I can think
it's
about.
Mower Tuesday. You're probably right.
That's all I can think about. 414-799-1973.
We'll get an email,
NicoletLaw.com talk and text line is open. 414-799-1973. Quit dumping your stuff in there. We are really excited to continue this conversation. We got a couple of people who are really passionately weighing in about the Brewers' L last night and some weird circumstances. But tonight, can't take an L. None available. Milwaukee Bucks must-win situation against the Pacers. How are you watching tonight? How are you taking this in? Because as very appropriately pointed out online, and I want to give credit and just set where we're at, much different Game 5 win or go home situation than Game 5 at home was a year ago. And we'll explain coming up. It's 9 to noon on the Game.
Cruise to the cruise to connect the dots, not just urban. She liked the pop because she was living la vida loca. She had dumps like a truck. Guys like what? Baby, move your butt. I think I'll sing it again. She had dumps like a truck. Guys like what? All night long. Let me see that song.
All the talk about Junk in the Trunk in the previous segment, Armin Sarian could not contain his excitement for this one to return. Just mind straight in the gutter, John Kuhn. I mean, like, could not get it out of his mind about being able to rip this song off. Good for him.
That's a classic from Cisco.
Absolute freak.
Cisco, classic. You know what I mean? If you remember, he was in Drew Hill.
If only you could have heard what this guy started talking about in the 8th inning last night. I'm like, dude, there's kids around here.
Double steals.
Double steals. We were right there. And to be able to watch that double steal in the 9th inning, was perfectly executed.
That was great. It was all fired up. That's the most action we got. I'm like, I believed until the moment that the Brewers lost was a strikeout to end the game. Bases loaded. I'm blanking on who it was now. Bowers?
Bowers, yeah.
I believed until that moment we were going to win that game.
Well, especially, I mean, when we're up on the Jumbotron or the big screen, whatever it ends up being.
We're up on the brand new video board.
Sadly, I only had like half a drink of beer left to be able to polish off on there.
You did a good job with it,
otherwise, if there would have been a little bit more, it would have been a little bit more impressive. It was a good time, though. Great time.
Thanks to
you
John.
Always have one in the chamber.
Yeah, I should have had one in reserve.
Well, it was like 7 innings stretch.
Yeah, I just missed it.
Yeah.
Just missed it.
John the engineer got the video. Well done, or else we wouldn't have had that to post. You know, so I appreciate that. That's the most important thing.
Do you guys just invite John the engineer to take video of you guys? I mean, it sounds like
no, we don't do that.
You put a little Zabe on him.
No way.
When you're with Zabe, Zabe's like any place you ever go with Zabe, it's like, hey, by the way, hold this phone.
Turns in a shot sheet to him.
Hold it right here. Dude, I said I was coming golfing. I didn't say I was filming the whole damn thing for you. If you need a cameraman, pay me $59 an hour, right? Or whatever the hell the going rate is for a cameraman.
Here's the shot sheet, and if you want to try and get the lighting right, I would suggest this. No, we don't do any of that.
John could have had the shot sheet though, because he had the over-the-shoulder bag.
You know all that
over-the-shoulder bag.
All the joke about fanny packs. He wears the crossbody bag.
He was an over-the-shoulder.
And he said he liked it a lot. Also, one more.
I thought you were going to harass him a little bit more when you first brought it up.
Because I might get one. Crossbody bag, or what's more manly? What is more manly? The crossbody bag or the fanny pack?
Crossbody for sure.
I'm going fanny pack. I'm going dads from the 80s. Fanny pack.
I kind of like the fanny pack better than the crossbody, because like the crossbody is going to show. That's where I'm sweating, right? Like my under chest. For the FCC, sweat is going to be worse than, me buckling around the waist. That is, if I can stretch it out enough to be able to stretch it around the waist. The fanny pack's going to be the move for me, way more than I'm going to go crossbody.
A guy it might look better on you. I'll say that.
I see a lot of big boys wearing the crossbody.
Oh, they're popular now. Definitely, they're very popular now.
I also feel like I gotta have John. I feel like you got to have a nice. You got to be doing some kind of more expensive crossbody bag if these guys are wearing
I think the crossbody inadvertently was made popular by what's his face from The Hangover, right?
Zach Galifianakis.
Yes. Ever since he came down that elevator with that crossbody on
and the shirt,
the baby, like ever since he did that, crossbodies, it's almost like, hey, the first couple people you watch throw them on, the first couple guys you watch throw them on, you're like, they were making fun of the Zach Galifianakis.
It was a joke. Yeah,
they were making fun of the way he was dressed, and now you're taking that and you're making it a stop. But now it's a thing. Now it's a real thing.
You never know cycles of trends and fashion changes, right? I mean, they used to make fun of dudes wearing shorts too short. Now these shorts are short out here. Dudes are wearing shorter shorts now. That's just the way it is, right?
They're too short.
Too short.
Some of them are too short. I agree. Yeah. I think you can find the right length, but some are way too short.
10
and some are
inch
too
inseam
long.
Minimum.
Yeah. I'm 7 inches. So for the inseam.
Pause.
I'm just making a point.
414-799-1973. 414-799-1973.
Sorry about that.
This was from Glenn in Milwaukee, who signed it from unnamed in the 414. If the swing interference rule was misapplied, why didn't Murphy protest the game? I don't believe you can protest it instantly. I think that has to be put in through Major League Baseball. Who knows? Maybe that ends up being the case. All I know is, I've never seen it before.
I doubt a protest happens, and you can tell by the way Jake Bowers was in his post-game press conference, and he goes, "We're not in this situation if I don't swing at a slider 6 inches in front of the plate."
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, but by the way he answered it, that is old school baseball. Accept the outcome, move on to the next day. You talked about it, Billy. That's the way they are. They have that fortitude, and they're not complaining. Jake Bowers isn't complaining. Murph isn't going to complain.
Not complaining. No.
Aside from getting kicked out of the game, I mean, he's going to go out there,
he's going to lay it down, and then it's going to be over.
Right.
Yeah. And then he'll come in here. I'll have two cold bubblies, and he'll call it a night. I mean, it's the way the cookie crumbles in baseball.
And I think he realizes that MLB is not going to change that. I think he might just look at it as, look, they're not going to change it. This is their rule, and they interpret it this way. And this probably was just a waste of time.
The protest to me seems like a waste of time, almost like the reviewing pass interference in the NFL was a waste of time. Are you really going to overrule your guys on the field and the ones that are going to then go and officiate more games? Are you going to put them in that position? Probably not. Fellas, here tonight, as we turn the page, and Trey Crosby's going to talk a lot more Bucks with us coming up in about a half hour. We've been in and out of some grown man work. We'll explain potentially when Trey's on with us. But going up with not as many bullets in the chamber. John, you kind of touched on it yesterday. Probably aren't seeing Dame, not seeing Giannis, listed as doubtful. I'd be stunned if either of them are playing here tonight at 8:30 tip. However, this was put out by Nate Marzion earlier today, and I thought it was really spot on when you talk about how different this Game 5 at home feels than last year. Because even though the preseason expectations are neck and neck, if not this year heightened with the arrival of Damian Lillard a minute and a half before media day, and he's announced to the Milwaukee faithful that way. To put this in perspective, how different the series are, for the first round loss last year, the Bucks were favored in all 5 games against Miami, 4 of which they were more than a 5-point favorite. This year, the Bucks have been favored in 1 game as a 1-point tip-off favorite in Game 2. Much more of a coin flip situation on the two teams' parallels. But damn, from the thought of where you could have been preseason to where you started the postseason, the expectations were pretty even to start. Last year going into the playoffs, this year going into the playoffs, the gap just only widened with the way this series has played out. However, I'm laying it out on the line here tonight. I think the Bucks are winning this game here tonight. I think they're surviving, and I think they're going to play on Thursday night. I don't know how, by hook or crook. I think they're going to win this game tonight, and I think they're playing on Thursday night.
I love it.
Well, okay, so I told you yesterday it didn't matter. Bobby Portis got kicked out of the game because they weren't winning with Bobby in the game the way that thing went last night. Bobby Portis doesn't get kicked out of the game tonight. They win. That's what you're telling me?
Don't get kicked out of the game. Get some Bobby chance going. Get that place flowing.
Bobby plays 38 to 42 minutes, and they win the basketball game at home at Pfizer. That's what you're telling me?
Role players always play better at home.
Well, that's great news, because the way I feel about the Bucks right now, and I hate to say this because I don't like to get this spot anytime throughout a season, but their grade for the year is an incomplete. It's an incomplete for me.
Correct.
And I hate to say that, because when you get an incomplete, you like to say, well, let's run it back. But my heart tells me, and my brain tells me too, you can't run it back with this group of guys. You need to get younger, you need to get faster, and you need to get longer on the wing. But man, it's an incomplete, because what could have happened if Giannis and Dame were healthy for this series? Goodness gracious. And you win Game 1. You nearly win Game 2 or 3 with some heroics out of Chris Middleton. Game 4, you're down by 3 with, let's call it 6 minutes left in the game. By amazement. I'm just, man, this team's trying, this team's rocking out. But ultimately, I feel like it's going to end tonight, because without Dame, without Giannis, it's like the Bulls playing without Pippen and Jordan.
Exactly.
Right? We need Kukoc to go for 50 tonight.
And you just can't realistically expect that to happen over the course of time. It could happen one night, but over the course of a course of a series and things like that. That's why no one can tell me that injuries are just an excuse. Well, they're a reason. I mean, you cannot tell me Giannis not being there has an effect, has the ultimate effect. The Bucks are not the Bucks without Giannis. You can't tell me that you get out rebounded in one possession 6 times in the overtime period in Game 3. You can't tell me Giannis isn't grabbing those rebounds. He's one of the best rebounders in the world. That's the reality of it. So not having him makes a total difference. So I have to agree on the incomplete factor. Billy, I'd love to share your optimism on the Bucks. I'm always trying to be positive. So I like to think they can maybe find a way to win tonight. I don't know. The Pacers have to be complicit if they're going to do it. AKA, they cannot shoot as well as they've been shooting.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And you need your role players to play better, and generally they do at home. Rick Carlisle was on an Indianapolis morning radio show today and said, well, I hope so, when asked if Tyrese Halliburton will play here tonight. I could see him sitting, right? Like I could see if you're Indiana saying, we got 3 chances at this. We'll be okay. I could also see them just trying to step on the throat. But I want to go back to what John mentioned, and I think that we can bring this back, and we'll mention it to Trey Crosby coming up and let him weigh in about 20 minutes when he answers. Because, John, I'm with you on the incomplete, right? That there's something that needs to still be played out with this team. When you say run it back, and I think they will run it back with the core. 3, 2, because when I see the message from Aaron in Milwaukee, have we seen Dame play his last game as a Buck? Man, I hope not. I don't believe so. There's no chance. Like when I'm saying run it back, and I want to know what your explanation is of it, because I think you're running it back with Giannis, Dame. I hope Chris Middleton. I don't necessarily know for sure if it's Chris Middleton, Andre Jackson, and then maybe one other piece. And then you can spill it from there. That's, to me, run it back. But they're definitely going to make changes on the auxiliary pieces. Is that kind of where you were leaning towards?
Yeah, and I just don't know, excuse me, how many auxiliary pieces are safe or not, right? I mean, you would like to sit here. I would like to sit here and say, I'd like to see Brooks stay, but them get another athletic big.
Yep. Yeah.
Right? I'd like to see that. I don't know if you can do it. I don't know if you can actually do that, get another athletic big while keeping Brook Lopez. I think it'd be too difficult for him. So that's a conversation about basketball that I am unfamiliar with. That's a conversation about basketball that I do not have enough acumen in to be able to predict. But I'm saying Giannis, Dame, and you know what? Chris Middleton has showed me enough toughness and grit throughout this series alone that makes me say, yeah, he should stay. But you don't know if he's the piece that needs to move in order for you to get more auxiliary pieces.
Yeah, going into last year, I still thought Drew Holiday was for sure staying. But to get the auxiliary or get the core piece that was Damian Lillard, you had to move one. If you have to move Chris Middleton, I'm not going to like it. Yeah, Armin. But I think I'll understand it potentially.
Isn't this playoffs too? Maybe you mentioned this to me, Billy. Remind us how valuable Chris Middleton can be in a half-court game.
In a half-court game, are you kidding me? No Chris Middleton haters out and enjoying their victory lap during this series.
No, there's no reason to, because whether or not he has moments where he struggles over the course of an 82-game season, maybe it's more wide open, what have you, health, stamina. When you get to a half-court game, Chris Middleton is a really good piece to have cooking down the stretch when you can set him up on the elbow, set him up in the short corner, set him up to try and get to back a guy down because it goes straight 2001 offense on it, basically. He's a more valuable piece in that situation. So at least for that reason, you might want to diminish his role during the season, but I think he's very valuable to have right now. He's the only reason the Bucks are remotely in this series. He's the reason you can give yourself hope if Dame and Giannis are out, because you're like, well, at least we have Chris. Maybe he can cook these guys up for a while. So
had they found a way to not let Tyrese Halliburton hit that floater there at the end of overtime in game 3, and then they won that in double overtime, I would say there's still a chance.
Or get one of those rebounds.
They don't think there is. John, I think there'd be still a chance they're winning the series if it's 2-2. I'm not thinking necessarily 3 in a row. Just win tonight. Come on. Finish out the home part of the season strong. Enjoy it. Let's go.
Well, Armin, what did
These boys deserve the night?
What did Paul Westphal used to say?
Oh, man.
Come on, give me one.
What was it? We're going to win game 3. Then we're going to go to L.A. and win again. Then we're going to come home and win game 5. That's what's going to happen. This was when they were down 2-0 in the 5.
All right, so we're going to win tonight. We're going to go out there. We're going to go out there to Indy, and we're going to win again. And then we're going to come back here at game 7, and we're going to close this thing at Bucks and 7.
And Saturday at the brand new Potawatomi Sportsbook, the second day it's been open, there's going to be a Bucks game 7, and they're going to win it against the Indiana Pacers at home.
Yeah. By the way, we got an update for the sports book and how that whole thing's grand opening is going to take place on Friday. We'll do that hour number 3 with the can't miss. But for Deviation Don,
thank you. Yes.
When is Nooner Day 5 tickets going on sale? They've been on sale. Where you been, Deviation? Find us on Twitter or the game MKE at 9 to noon. It's the pinned link right at the top. Hit that link, takes you right there to brewers.com. Get your ticket in our section. Tailgate, get in there, get some free food, surprises, maybe prizes, all kinds of shenanigans to boot.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of it. I also pinned it up at Bill Schmid Radio as well earlier on today. So go and get that and get your tickets now, because first 200 are going to really enjoy those special surprises. 414-799-1973. Trey Crosby talks more Bucks and Pacers as we take you up to tip-off. We're not taking you all the way up to tip-off. 8:30 tip at Fiserv Forum tonight. Get a cup of coffee and get yourself ready to roll for a Tuesday night. Club's going up on a Tuesday. It's 9 to noon on the game. Hey guys, Billy Schmid, and I'm going to be at Game 5 here tonight, and I'm going to be playing Underdog Fantasy all night long because their NBA playoff pick'em game is the best way to stay in on the action. Whether you're at the game, at home enjoying it on TV, it's super easy to play. And the best part is there's endless projections to choose from, so you can create your own experience all night long. Your picks don't win in the first quarter? Well, get back in for the second half. What are you waiting for? All you do is select between 2 and 5 players on at least 2 teams. Select higher or lower on player stats, and if your picks hit, you can win up to 100 times your money. It's legal in Wisconsin. It's tons of fun to play while you watch along with all the NBA playoff games, especially maybe one last Milwaukee Bucks game. Do it tonight. Underdog Fantasy. Download the app. Sign up using promo code Billy, BILLY, and Underdog is going to match your first deposit up to $100. That's it. Plus, they're going to give you a mystery special pick on your first pick'em entry just for using my promo code Billy, BILLY. First deposit of $10 or more up to $100 matched, plus your special pick. Play tonight. Must be 18 plus and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. 9 to noon on the game. Some other interesting notes as we get ready for Bucks and Pacers here tonight. Game 5, win or go home. Kevin O'Connor of The Ringer. This is making news yesterday. Kevin O'Connor has been covering the NBA for a long time, does the Ringer NBA show, Bill Simmons podcast as well. Wrote this. It was a snippet of his full article piece about like a playoff notes section. And it gets to the Milwaukee Bucks. And John Horst potentially being interested in the president of basketball operations job with the Detroit Pistons, being linked to that. The write-up is, now, why would Horst want to leave the Bucks for the league's worst team? He's a Michigan native who got his start working in the NBA as a front office assistant with the Pistons. In his 16 years with the Bucks, he's risen up the ranks, but his power has dwindled in recent years. Kevin O'Connor writes, Giannis Antetokounmpo was more or less able to choose Adrian Griffin to be the Bucks head coach last summer, even when John Horst wanted Nick Nurse. Then ownership chose Doc Rivers, though Horst wanted Warriors assistant Kenny Atkins. Now, this is 9 to noon, and we are only privy to certain parts of the information here, John Kuhn and Armin Sarian. But when I read that, one, I think a lot of it we kind of knew. Right? Like the Adrian Griffin thing, I think we all knew. And that was one of the reasons why there was as short of a leash, John, I believe, when you're 30-13 and ownership's like, yeah, we didn't like this from the start and it's not working. So we're going to have to yank the plug on this thing.
You know, we did know, but it's one of those things, you know, but then you confirm it. It's like trust but verify, the old adage, trust but verify. Yep. This is verified. And we've had sneaky suspicions about our teams and how deals got done, and you hear rumors and they could be true and they sound so realistic. And more times than not, we just believe them. And probably 95% of the time they are true. Mm-hmm. But when you get somebody to validate it and confirm what you had believed this whole time, it's now it all makes perfect sense.
Well,
and now you don't blame John Horst if everything has changed around you in the last couple of years. Giannis went from being your quiet superstar who only wants to win, who all you have to do is appease by showing you want to win, to actually being the man who is now making the decisions instead of you making the decisions that he's going to be happy about. And then even when he doesn't step in to make the decisions, and now you get to make a decision to make him happy, you don't get to make it because ownership gets to make it as well.
Well, that last part I think might be what's changed the most.
That's the tricky one.
The ownership part, because I think that's the part we didn't know either, right? That ownership might have wanted Doc and he wanted Kenny, and that's where he lost that battle. It's one thing. It's one thing to lose it, not lose it, but it's one thing to lose out influence on your star player who's won a championship, who set his roots in Milwaukee, all this stuff. That I can understand. But when ownership changes, then you feel like, all right, my power's really dwindled here. And
maybe it's not the same job.
Yeah, it's a totally different job. Maybe, and especially if the Doc's in, he's been around. Maybe they want Doc involved in personnel decisions more. Right.
Well, and that's where more and more of this would continue to let you believe that that's where they're headed. After years of bolstering the roster around Giannis, KOC writes, the Bucks have now the second oldest team in the league, suffered major injuries in 3 straight postseasons, and don't have the rights to any of their first-round draft picks till 2031. This confluence of circumstances might be the perfect prospect for a fresh start.
Sure.
For John Horst. Easy to see why Horst never wanted Griffin, who turned out to be one of the worst NBA coaches in recent memory, or Rivers, whose teams have underperformed in the playoffs in nearly every season since 2008. Rivers' longevity and respect from players, historically given playing time to aging veterans, goes into whether Horst or someone else is running the Bucks next summer. It'll be crucial to convince Rivers to trust AJ Green and Andre Jackson Jr. more. They might be young, but they have proven to be positive contributors. The ending part of this is, and this is where we're talking about what could next year look like for the Milwaukee Bucks, because as you face elimination tonight, hell of an uphill battle. Odds are that the Bucks will run it back with Giannis, Dame, Middleton, and maybe even Brook Lopez. There aren't many options since they have such limited assets room. But how long can you keep this show together? There'll be a lot of work to be done, and give Giannis another chance to win a title in Milwaukee leaves it very up for interpretation. But seems like Doc Rivers will be heavily influencing who is making the personnel decisions. Well, that's good, because you know what? He was advising Adrian Griffin on how to coach. Now he's coaching and it hasn't gotten all that much better. So why don't we have him pick the players too? 414-799-1973. It's the NicoletLaw.com talking text line. All that and so much more. When Trey Crosby, Bucks in 60, heard right here on the game last night. You can catch it on the iHeartRadio app and also on your T's and Q's. Trey Crosby joins 9 to noon right after this.
La 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 la, wait till I get my money right. I had a dream I could buy my way to heaven. When I awoke, I spent that on a necklace. I told God I'll be back in a second. Man, it's so hard not to act reckless.
9 to noon, hour 2. Billy Schmidt, John Kuhn, Armin Sarian with you on the NicolaLaw.com talking text line 414-799-1973. We hit up the talking text line and check in with our guy Trey Crosby on your T's and Q's, Bucks and 60, which you heard last night right here on the game, and you can find on the iHeartRadio app. Cream City crossover you'll listen to tonight after Game 5, Bucks and Pacers. Win or go home. Trey, read the tweet that Nathan Marzian had a little bit earlier on today, just mentioning the stark differences in this year's Game 5 win or go home moment than last year's win or go home game, in which last year the Bucks are favored by more than 5 points in 4 of the 5 games, favored in all 5. This one they're favored in only 1. The injuries mount even more this year's postseason exit. Last year, one of the core 3 members of the championship team and a head coach was gassed because of it. Different thoughts on what will be happening here after the season, or are you buying in more to the Kevin O'Connor report that there could be big time changes coming to the Milwaukee Bucks organization after this one?
What's happening on this show? Is there not a game tonight? It sounds like the game. It's already been decided.
Let's go.
Tell him, Trey.
That's what I'm saying, Trey. I did predict the Bucks are going to win tonight. I do want to.
He did do that. Yeah, he did do that.
Yeah, no. So I'm just messing with you, but yeah, definitely feels there's definitely a different tenor towards this one versus last year. I mean, I think even if you have feelings about Doc Rivers, I know not everybody was excited about that hire, and people thought, whatever you may have thought about Doc Rivers, you even have to give him a reset. Even more so than just the fact that he didn't get an off season with the team or training camp. Like, it's hard to blame Doc Rivers at all for this. The report, he said, from the Ringer related. Now, the report related to John Horst. Again, there's some. I think there's some truth to that. There will be wholesale changes after this year. I just don't. Again, I think there may have been some questions about Chris Middleton. I think he's proven himself this series. So I think if your name isn't Damian Lillard, Giannis, or Chris Middleton, and then maybe some of the young players, if you're not under the age of 26, you may be in some danger coming into at least being on the Milwaukee Bucks next season. So I think that's definitely a thing. And then, like you said, with John Horst, it is clear, again, when there's smoke, there's fire. And I know we like to talk about Giannis and, he likes the milkshakes and all the different things. That guy is no longer here. Like, that is a different player. Like, I'm not calling Giannis a diva, but he is a superstar, and he recognizes his worth and his value. And it is very evident and apparent that not only from the tea leaves, but from information all over the place, I've heard. I think it's kind of, again, it's one of the things where the smoke there's fire. Giannis is calling a lot of the shots around there. And when I say calling the shots, I mean in the fact that it seems like ownership is very afraid of Giannis and whether he may leave or what he's going to do. And so when he speaks, they listen. It's one of the reasons why he re-signed. And you got to think, if you're John Horst, what does that mean for you? Well, that means you are clearly losing power within the organization. When typically the GM gets to run the team, and when the player is getting to play more GM role, he's lost power. So things that he can get blamed for, he's like, oh, I'm not super responsible for this. And I mean, it makes sense. Again, he's John Horst, a Michigan native, and Detroit, it would give him the opportunity. It makes a lot of sense. I don't know if he does it or not, but it makes a lot of sense because it gives him an opportunity to almost reset the clock. Especially when you think about where Detroit is in their rebuild and retooling of their basketball team.
Trey, but this is not an uncommon spot for NBA organizations to be in, right? You get LeBron, maybe not so much in Golden State, maybe not. You got KD, you got Kyrie. I mean, these are situations that have gone. You got a superstar player, which everybody wants a superstar player. You find yourself in a spot like this eventually. I mean, is this always going to be the case in the NBA?
Yeah, because I mean the stars run the league. I mean that is what it is, and they hold the power. And it's not like the NFL where you can the franchise tag on the young superstar. Like, no, these guys hold a lot of power. It kind of is what it is, and you have to make sure that they're happy. And again, winning cures everything, But you look at the Bucks; they haven't been out of the second round since 2021. And again, I'm not absolving Giannis at all when you think about this because, and I don't think Giannis, again, not that it's his fault. You can't blame injuries or, it kind of is what it is. But Giannis not being there outside of 2022 has been the reason the Bucks have had 2 consecutive first-round exits. And again, even more so this year because he wasn't available and Dame as well. So again, the injury bug has hit the Bucks. And but it's, look at the report that just came out in LA that the Lakers are going to have to draft Bronny James. Do you think they're considering drafting Bronny James? Do you think that they would draft Bronny James if his name wasn't James, and if LeBron wasn't on that basketball team like this? I watched some of Bronny James. Again, I think maybe he'll turn into something. He's not an NBA level player. He's just not. And, but you're hampered and hamstring. You're hampered because you have to make the moves to make your superstars happy. And it sounds like Bronny James is going to get him a spot in LA. Those are what you do to keep your superstars happy.
But that's okay. That's Thanasis on the Lakers, right? I mean, if the Lakers,
not even, because at the very least they didn't have to waste a draft pick on Thanasis. I mean, I get one, bring a guy over from the.
Okay, so do you think there's going to be an arms race for Bronny James?
I'm sure LA hopes, and this might be one of the reasons why they're putting this out there now. Hey, we're going to go get him. Because I know you don't want there to be an arms race for Bronny James. If I was something, I put out a report that I might be looking to get him because I want LA to use it. I want them to use whatever arsenal they need to think they know to get Bronny James that will set their franchise back. I'd 100% try to make them believe I was going to get Bronny James too.
Because that is exactly my thought here. If you say, and I say, and Billy says, and every expert that knows basketball even more than us says, Bronny James is not an NBA player. Why do
especially right now? Right now. I mean, he's 19 years old. Right now.
Why do you have to draft him unless other teams are going to use that as leverage to get LeBron James too? Heck, I would say go out and draft him, and in worst case scenario, put LeBron in a bad spot. See if he's going to sign with your team.
Because the draft is before Pistons? Free agency, sure. John.
Yeah, you're the Pistons. Go do this.
The Wizards. Yeah,
I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding.
Absolutely. Why wouldn't you?
Well, again, my only thing on that, I mean, I get it. If you're the Pistons or the Wizards, though, it doesn't help you. Leaving LeBron coming, LeBron can't help. And LeBron can't get out in the first round with Anthony Davis on the team. Yeah. I mean, what is him and what is a couple more years of LeBron going to do?
Yeah.
Besides, put the franchise back. So I get it. You'll sell some tickets, but I don't know if that's the business that a team like Detroit or Washington or Portland should be in either. So again, it's interesting, it's fascinating, but again, it just goes to the point of the superstars run the league, and when they say go, and if they want something to happen, they can have influence and pressure to make it happen.
That's a fair statement, but let's keep in mind they played the Nuggets. Okay, they played the Nuggets. They got bounced by the Nuggets 2 years in a row. The Nuggets. He lost to the Nuggets with AD. That's a clear distinction there.
And won one game. Come on.
Yeah,
didn't get swept.
It's true.
Didn't get swept. There we go.
Well, that goes to another point, right? I mean, it wasn't like you were. It's one thing to lose the Nuggets again. There's nothing wrong with that. You won one game. I guarantee you the Minnesota Timberwolves are going to win more than one game in this series when they play the Nuggets. So
no, you're right there, but they probably won't be down 200 minutes like the Nuggets probably won't be down 200 minutes to them like they were to the Lakers in this series.
That series wasn't close. Neither one of them. I mean, he won one game out of what, 9 in the playoffs if they played together. That series wasn't close. You can win all the minutes you want. It reminded me of the if you remember those Heat teams where LeBron, if you remember, they played the Bucks in one of those first round series.
Oh yeah, that was Bucks in 6.
That was Bucks in 6.
Right, and I remember going to those games, and I don't think the Bucks led as much as the Lakers did against Denver, but there were a couple games at least where the Bucks were leading going into the fourth quarter, and when the Heat decided to beat the Bucks, that's what they did, and I think that was sort of what Denver did. I don't know what they played around with them, but I think they had that series by the horns, and if they really wanted to sweep them, they probably could have.
Yeah. Can you explain the situation last night with the timeout? They won the challenge, but still had to use a timeout because it forced a television timeout. That sounds like it's off.
Well, I think that's how it always works. Is that you have to use the time, even if you win your challenge, you always have to use your timeout.
Oh, okay. So
you just keep the challenge. Yeah, you keep the challenge.
Okay, so okay. Okay, so they had to use their last time out in order for that challenge. I get you. I get you. I thought it had something. The way the broadcast made it sound like it had something to do with the television taking a break.
Oh
no! I don't know if that's part of it, but I know that happens all the time. And then maybe they were explaining it that way, but yeah, that anytime you make a challenge, you're gonna lose the timeout with it. You win the challenge, you get another challenge. But again, if you don't have another, well, I guess that's the thing. If you don't have another timeout, you don't have a challenge anyway. Because you have to have a timeout to be able to use another challenge.
So Trey, let's get back to the Bucs. Trey Crosby on your T's and Q's and Bucs and 60 here. You mentioned it that the last 2 years now, with first round exit looming potentially here tonight. Hopefully not. We're going to the game tonight. At least make it back.
Let's get that dub.
Let's get it back to Indy at least. They have not been healthy. So how do we fix this? Right? How do we play the injury, turn them off on the preseason franchise settings? How do we get this group to a postseason healthy? Is that by cutting down regular season minutes? Is that by managing your push towards the playoffs differently? How do you, and I know you're going to try to assess this throughout the entire offseason, but we're going to try to break it down a little bit here on the other side. Load management gets bashed relentlessly in the NBA. However, Jokic played the least amount of games he had ever played in an NBA season last year and won his first championship. Like, where do you line in on getting to this point with this crew? Because it feels like it's going to be the same, 3 30-year-old dudes in Dame, Chris, and Giannis next year. He will be 30. How do we get them to the playoffs with injuries off?
Yeah, I think, honestly, you're going to have to do a couple things here. I think you're right. And again, let's look at Giannis, right? And he has been one of the main ones who's been injured throughout these last couple postseasons. I think when we talk about, it's kind of what we talked about a little earlier. We talked about this on Bucs 60 last night. You've got to get younger, and by doing that, you should be able to play your young guys more. I think it's one of the things that Doc Rivers is going to have to lean into next year. And I think whether it's John Morris or another GM, you've got to give that head coach younger players to go with. And if you lose some games, you lose some games. The Bucs at this point should be seeding should not matter to them. And it should be one of those things where at the end of the year, last couple weeks, if you need to sit Giannis, Dame, and Chris for the last week and a half, 2 weeks of the season, that's what you do. And if that means you're the 4, 5, 6 seed, so be it. But you can't run these guys. Literally, when I say the regular season, and this is a problem that Adam Silver is trying to combat. But when you have this many injuries, again, we're looking at Adam Silver and going, where's the happy medium? Because again, Kristaps Porzingis just got hurt in this postseason.
Yep.
Giannis. You can go through the league and look at all the injuries that have happened, not just throughout the year, but just down the stretch that we're seeing. Zion Williamson not available. Pelicans got swept. So I know that Adam Silver is trying to protect his regular season product, but we're at a point now where you don't want to lose both, because at the very least, the NBA had the postseason going for it, which was fun and great. And now, by trying to preserve some things going in the regular season, are you in a position where you're blowing both the regular and the postseason with injuries? Because it's not like guys are playing any harder in the regular season now. It's just maybe they're playing more, and then you're having this issue of them not being ready for postseason. So I think here's the solution. Yeah, if you need to be eligible for these awards, play your 65 games or whatever, but you've got to put these guys on track to basically play those 65 with rest and breaks in between, and you got to lean on young players to get yourself in playoff position. And then, like I said, last couple weeks of the season, you shut everybody down, and you hope you're healthy for the playoffs. I think that's where I would be. But again, it starts by not playing out in Greece in these Olympic qualifiers for Giannis. If you can't, that's why I've said it for years. If you can't finish the season, and I can't count on you to finish the season, there's no way that I should see you in the summer playing competitive ball for your Olympic team or for your home country. And I say the same thing for Joel Embiid, who's been hampered. He was about 50%. I know he wants to play for Team USA. If I'm the Philadelphia 76ers, there's no way
locking him up.
Joel Embiid would suit up for Team USA this summer.
Yeah, Giannis, they ain't making it, so don't even try it. Don't worry about it.
Put him in cuffs. Don't let him leave the country. Keep him in the facility. Lock him down.
Good idea.
Shackle him up. That's what Trey says, and I ain't too far off. Hey, but Trey, the truth is, and I'm going to piss a lot of people off, Jordan played 82 games and then played on the dream team. I'm just saying. And then you got Jason Tatum last night spraining his ankle on a practice shot during a dead ball. What's your take on that? Stan Van Gundy had some wild things to say about it, one of which was, you don't want to get hurt, don't shoot the ball.
I think Stan Van Gundy was correct, and I think he's double correct because, and I didn't understand the Celtics gripe about this because if I'm not mistaken, it's their coach Joe Mazzulla who goes out every time anybody
true.
A practice shot, and he even during the regular season, I remember when he did it, he stepped out and contested a shot from I can't remember from an actual player from the coach's position. So he preaches regularly, hey, we don't let anybody shoot any practice shots, and that's the danger when you shoot. It happens in regular games that guys incidental contact, get underneath somebody's foot. Of course, I don't think Bam was doing that on purpose at all, but he was contesting the shot that Jason Tatum took. Again, I could totally get it. Maybe if you have a team philosophy that says, hey, we don't contest any shots, we don't do any of that. But for the Boston Celtics, I mean, it's just irony that that's something that they had an issue with. And I thought Al Horford pushed Bam Adebayo. I mean, I thought that was kind of weak. I mean, I understand you get upset. But again, that's part of your policy. That's what you do. You can't be upset when other teams do it as well. And Stan Van Gundy's 100% right. The only way to 100% prevent that practice from happening is to not shoot the ball. But again, I think that's a weird rule too. But again,
it is weird.
I thought it was crazy that he got a flagrant. And then that's my other thing is, and this is why officiating is so weird and interesting in the NBA. So that was a flagrant. But flagrant one, and that was the exact same penalty Joel Embiid got for pulling Mitchell Robinson down out of midair. Something seems off about that.
Yeah, that's true.
And Bobby got two separate technicals for what was one skirmish. Can you chime in on that?
Well, Bobby's an idiot, and I hope he's not in the Milwaukee Bucks uniform next year. I'm sick of it. I mean, again, it's at a Draymond Green point. And he's not anywhere close to being as good as Draymond Green.
It's not at this point.
Cool when you're winning. It's not cool when you're losing, and it's especially not cool when you have multiple players out and you're trying to. Again, the Bucks were in that game. If Bobby plays, it could legitimately be 2-2 right now because of the way the Bucks played. Again,
Bobby's going to win them that game, Trey.
Say that again?
Bobby's going to win them that game.
They were in, but I don't know. That's my point. I don't know. I wish I could have seen, but I have no idea.
This is my thought on it. But Bobby,
they were in that game.
Yeah, but Bobby isn't going to win that game if you got to put the leash on Bobby. You got to the Bobby dog needs to come out if they're going to win that game. And that's why I think if there's ever a time for the Bobby dog to go off and to bite somebody, that's the time.
I don't think Bobby's antics are anywhere close to Draymond either. I just got to mention that because you mentioned it. I know that's not part of our conversation really. I think
what's his impact on winning?
Draymond's impact on winning has been bigger in his career because of the defense and the small ball D. I won't disagree with that. Over the course of his career, I don't know about right now how much of an effect Draymond really has at this later stage. But in terms of the antics, you can't compare him to Draymond. Yes, he got tossed out of this one, but go ahead, John. I just want to say that.
All right, I got to put this out there before we go into it. Spoiler alert.
I don't like Draymond.
Spoiler alert for all the Nooners out there that watch Survivor that haven't seen last week's episode. Trey, I got to ask you. Your boy Q tries to leave the game. Somehow gets kept around off of some reverse psychology, wizardry. My guy last week, Hunter, goes home with an idol in his pocket. Which is the worst play?
Oh, there's no doubt going home with an idol in your pocket is the worst. And I think the second player is the second player in a row to go out with the idol in their pocket. That's got to be like one of the Cardinals is behind quitting the game on your own.
He tried to do it though.
Well, he tried, but somehow he didn't actually leave, which is the crazy part. But you cannot go home. You cannot go home with an idol in your pocket. And the crazy thing is, you got to trust your gut. Hunter was asking people, "Hey, is this true? Is this what's happening? Are we really voting Q? What's going on?" And if you have to ask that many times, you don't know what's going on. It was he should have. There was too much madness going on at these tribals. You got an idol. That was the time to play it. He wasn't safe. You had to play the idol. Didn't do it. And again, very unfortunate because he could have won that game.
Yeah, especially with the showboating the week before. I just go back to somehow Q has this wizardry where he convinced them to keep him, And now nobody even talks to him. They won't even talk to him on the beach. That guy's game is absolutely dead and gone, and you got Hunter leaving with an idol in his pocket. Yeah, both of them to boot. We had awful picks on who was going to win that game. Now I don't know where it's going to go. And for a cast that I thought played quite poorly for several episodes in a row, they gamed his ass. They got him.
Oh, no, 100. That was a smart move. That was 100% the smart move to do. And like we said it last week, and that's why, again, to me, if you're going to threaten to leave, if you want to go to a vote, I'm not going to vote you out just because you want to go. If you want to go, walk yourself out and don't have Jeff snuff your torch. But yeah, I think you're right. Q has torched his game, and because he's done that, I mean, you can get him out whenever you feel like it. I mean, you might even want to take him to the end.
You take him to the end.
You can't win. Who's going to vote for Q at the end? But then I don't know. That's a great story. I tried to quit, and I still ended up here. I don't know how it goes. I'm with you.
You could make that case in court, couldn't you? You would make that case.
I know you absolutely could.
Well, go get a win here today. You deserve it, and then the Bucks are going to go get a W later on tonight.
We go as Trey goes.
Yep.
We go as Trey goes today.
So no pressure, but if you don't win, it's the last Cream City crossover show you're doing here tonight. So go get a W. So we got another one coming up on Thursday night.
That's what we want. Bucks and 7, I guess it is now.
It's now Bucks and 7. Thanks, Trey. We appreciate it, man. We'll be listening tonight. Cream City crossover post-game show at TCIIIESQ on Twitter.
Yeah, write that down.
Your boy has so much energy. I love it. I
so
talk to him for an hour.
So what did he go home with in his pocket?
An idol. It's a get out of free. It's a you can't vote me out when I put this around my neck. But he hid it in his pocket. He held it in his pocket. And
forgot that he had it in there?
No, he was guessing. He was trying to save it for another week. And everybody looked him straight in the eyes and said, yeah, we're voting Q. Psych. Bye.
That's awesome.
I was so mad. I was screaming at the television. Play your idol, idiot. Lindsay was disgusted. She might not watch the rest of the season.
And he just was completely oblivious to it.
Just so dumb.
That's awesome.
It's a dumb season with some dumb people.
That's what makes it fun, though. That's what makes it fun, right?
I got a story here that I was reading in the midst here that is going to make potentially going out with your friends a little bit more fun, thanks to Dave and Buster's. We'll bring this one back.
Both Dave and Buster.
You like Dave and Buster, and I like what they're potentially doing. However, don't know that it's all that groundbreaking of a story. However, it's fascinating to see that the world of sports investing is reaching the arcade. It's 9 to noon. John Coons right there. I'm Billy Schmidt. Armin Sarian's with you right here on The Game.
Stop to get gas. If he could move through the rumors, he could drive.
John Kuhn here for Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, and I've got a big announcement for you. The word of the day is now, and this is for a very limited time now. But if you order today from Pella, you'll get 0% interest for 60 months. Now, but you got to do it now. You only have until May 10th for this incredible deal. So jump on it. Yeah, I said it now. When it comes to replacing or upgrading your windows or doors, you want to feel confident that your choices will turn out exactly as you envisioned them. Would it make more sense in your home to go with black frames or white? Whether your home is newer, classic mid-century, modern, or something truly historic, it doesn't matter. Pella's Design Works lets you virtually see what your home will look like with their new windows and patio doors before you buy them. It's amazing. Vinyl, wood, fiberglass. Pella has all the options to bring your vision to life by creating a perfect style for your home. But now, it is now. Get 0% interest financing for up to 60 months if you order by May 10th. Like I said, now. Do it now. Set your free in-home consultation today at PellaWI.com and tell Gina Della that John Kuhn sent you. Certain restrictions apply. See showroom for details.
Work hard, play hard, work hard, play hard, work hard, play hard, work hard, play hard.
Work. Diamonds all in my ring, player. Gold watch, gold chain, player. $100 champagne, player. Yeah, my money insane, player. Yeah, I'm making it rain, player. But I was just on a plane, player. Buying gear, flying here. It ain't what you heard, it's my time of year.
9 to noon on the game. Billy Schmidt hanging out with you, John Kuhn, Armin Sarian. Appreciate everybody hanging out on the NicoletLaw.com talk and text line throughout the day. Just had a conversation with our guy Trey Crosby on your T's and Q's, Cream City Crossover postgame show, and Bucks and 60 as well. So hopefully he's doing multiple more Cream City Crossover postgame shows. Called us out a little bit right away. Said, what happened in the game tonight? 8:30 tip. Fired up for it. Can't wait. And cheering on the boys because they deserve it. That effort this weekend deserves to be applauded, and hopefully it is here tonight. Robust secondary ticket market. I know you guys are stunned by that. Many people are bailing out and trying to go to these games. Robust secondary ticket market. Hopefully it's loud in there. Hopefully it's a heck of an atmosphere. But, John, one thing that we mentioned and we're going back and forth with Trey about, and it is a hot conversation in the NBA. It always is. How do you stay healthy for the postseason? Because as Armin tried to say earlier, it's not always an excuse. It can be an explanation. It's a reasoning as to how the Milwaukee Bucks have exited the playoffs, not getting past the second round since winning the NBA Finals in 2021. But how do you get three guys that going into next year, all three will be over 30, to the finish line, to this point, the healthiest they can be to withstand potentially 2 months of the NBA playoffs? Because there is, I can say, all right, you play 4 games and then you take one off. You take 5 games, play one off. Giannis played the most minutes he's played and the most games he's played in a season this year at 73 games and 35 plus minutes, the most he had played since 2017, 2018. So if it's not as much of a minute load, or if we're saying it's a freak thing, I wonder what the correction will be, because I imagine they will try and implement some kind of strategy, believing they will have cracked the code on how to keep these guys healthy.
Yeah, and good luck. That is the key today in just about every sports league. We'll go down to Brewers. Start talking about what they've been dealing with.
Yeah,
right? I mean, we talked about Devin Williams. We talked about Christian Yelich. And we've been dealing with injuries with Christian Yelich. It's 4 years.
Unfortunately, yes. Yeah.
4 full years with Christian Yelich. Deal about it with the Packers every single year. And football is football, and you expect injuries with football. But there's some guys you can't even get them to the finish line. We have Christian Watson yet to really play 3/4 of a season for us. The young man, how much talent he has, and he's young, and he's not even the age factor yet that you're talking about with a Giannis, a Chris, a Dame. With Giannis, it's starting to get okay. Now he's starting to reach that age in his career that we were worried about from the beginning. He plays so explosive. He's so big. He's so fast. He jumps so high, and he doesn't play. I mean, he's under his control, but his control is like still at 100%.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yep, different level.
You know what I mean? Like Kobe would play under control. Kobe would play at like 85-90% speed to work his game.
It was different. Yeah, it was different. Yeah.
So you're not really putting that load on your body like a guy like Giannis is. And Giannis isn't built like a big guy from back in the day, like a Shaq who was just huge. And his size and his power was there, and it weathered him for all the bumping and the banging and the jumping and the landing that he had to do. He didn't have to run out to the 3-point line to guard. He didn't have to cover up for, so many. They didn't have to run him off the pick and roll so damn much. It's a different game. It's a different style. And, good luck. That's all I'm going to say. Good luck, because I'm still of the mindset of you have to train your body to go through the toughest part of the season. And the toughest part of the season for the NBA is the playoffs. So you got to the regular season is almost, you have to train your body during the regular season for the playoffs. And if you can't even get through the training portion of it to get to the playoffs, then you're in quite a bit of trouble.
And it's a totally different game in the playoffs. So sometimes regular season isn't even, you can even say it's not even the proper training, right? Because you're not going to, some guys, it's not that they're not going at that
They're not
speed,
playing the same way.
But it's just a different way of playing. And I think we have to acknowledge also that the style of the game has changed, which makes it harder to stay healthy. Because you're right, John. Big guys are on the perimeter now more than ever. Big guys are jumping out of 3-point lines. Big guys are Euro stepping. The Euro step wasn't really a thing in the game 20 years ago, 30 years ago. And the Euro step is a great move, but it obviously can lead to more injuries, more ligament movement, more cutting and jumping and things like that. It's just a totally different game, and I think it is harder to stay healthy. You mentioned Shaq. You know, you had a different type of strength and stamina and wear and tear in your body from constant banging, but it wasn't on the joints as much, right? I mean, Shaq didn't have to go out and defend 3-point lines and defend cutting big men that were going to step out and pick and roll and drop coverage, not as much at least, and not from extended points and up and down the court. It was just a totally different game. I mean, Shaq said once the only guy that would step out to the elbow was Big Country.
Yeah,
right?
but Shaq's career was effectively over by the time he was 35, right?
What,
I mean, like he didn't play more than 40 games a year at that point.
Guys aren't playing as long, right? Careers were shorter back then, or the peaks of their career were shorter. Yeah,
I just you're in this moment right here where this will be the back end of all three of their primes, most likely. And we see like Brian, he goes, I love Middleton, but he has to go. He's hurt half the season, and once it becomes a running back and forth game, he's too slow for it. Well, here's the problem. In the playoffs, it's not a run and gun game.
Slows down.
It slows down. Indiana has been the number one team in terms of pace and scoring throughout the season, and they have scored well below their season average in pretty much every single game because you aren't able to run up and down. And if he's hurt half the time, he's the only one healthy right now, right? So at some point, we can also look at it and say, yeah, he missed 27 games, but he's able to battle through what he's going through right now. I understand it, and I know that it is a point of contention, but Zion Williamson plays the most games he had in his career and pulls his hamstring at the end of it. I mean, you mentioned Jason Tatum last year. And then Jokic plays the least amount of games in his NBA career and finally wins an NBA championship. Like, so it's a potentially flawed premise, but it's kind of working. Like, if you're getting all the way home, Giannis played the fewest amount of games in his career the year they win the NBA championship. So like, it's just, it's a fascinating angle to it.
And the problem is you have a lot of different interests impacting this. They're not all the same, and they all want to have their cake and eat it too, right? The commissioner wants these guys to play every single game because they're selling this out on television, and they got fans that pay good money to come to the games. He wants them to play every single game. The players, they want to get their max, but they want to play as low as possible, right? And you can't blame them for that. They want to get paid more for playing less. And then you got the teams that just want them there in the playoffs. They just need them there in crunch time. And they want them to play 48 minutes in the playoffs. And they don't give a rip about the regular season as long as they're in. So you have three different arms pulling at this thing in all different directions.
I love that you throw the teams in there, John, because they are the wrench in the middle of the model that we rarely are talking about, where it's the players want one thing, the league wants the other thing. The teams really don't care about anybody else's assets except their own, right? And nor kind of should they. They care about winning and their own players. So if 29 other teams are doing it, they're like, well, we're not going to be the ones that aren't getting a competitive advantage. It's a delicate balancing act, but I think we're all in the same camp. You got to find a way just to survive the regular season to get to this point. But then you're playing 5 games and every other night,
which is tough too,
right? Yeah. I mean, from Friday on, they're going to be playing 5 games in 9 days. That's something that you do have to condition your body for. Like John said, to be able to go that for potentially 2 full months, there's no great balancing act to it, but there's got to be some way to walk the line.
Like you have to use the regular season to at least get you strong enough to make it through the playoffs. Like you can't just say, I have to just get to the playoffs. No, you then have to be at your peak. You have to be apexing by the time you hit the playoffs. And that's very hard to do because if you don't hit it right, if you don't time it right, you could get hurt because you're on your way down from the apex, which is what I think happened to Giannis, right? A little bit too much overexposure. Or you could be trying to ramp up too fast to that apex and end up getting hurt as well, which I think we've seen with Chris Middleton in the past.
It's a remarkable challenge that they're going to have to maneuver throughout. But more importantly, let's win tonight, keep this thing rolling, and make Indiana earn it back there. And I would be okay if Tyrese Halliburton doesn't play tonight. I'll just say that. 414-799-1973. NicoleLaw.com. Talk text. It's so ugly.
I don't like anything about him.
He doesn't even come off. He doesn't even come off the floor. It's such a slow release.
It is,
and
ugly.
There's never anybody around him to try and make it like impactful.
And Pat Bev
unless
said
it's
right.
unless it's Pat Connaughton flying in the air, which all the memes have been for the last 2 days. Burr, 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 burr. You know what I'm talking about.
I love that.
I did, but whatever. He actually recovered nicely on that play. And
Just floating into space.
Whatever.
Even better, Tyrese Halliburton, is he finally pushing Tyler Hero for the most disliked Wisconsin-born NBA player?
He might have surpassed him. All right.
Really?
Well, I don't know.
That's a win for us Whitnell kids.
Yeah.
Let's go. Big fans of that. We needed that dub, John. We needed that win here today. We're going to tell you about a huge win for football fans and one former center, as well as a NFL vet trying to make the comeback. And he's getting some heat for a reason we don't like. We'll give it to you next. Coming up, it's 9 to noon on The Game.
They been trying to keep me down all this time. Never thought I'd make it out.
9 to noon rolls into hour number 3 in a couple of minutes, which is always our best one of the day. It features a Coons Can't Miss, and I got a feeling it might have something to do with the NBA playoffs. But before we get to that, reset what we've been talking about all night. The Brewers' wild ending last night. Armin Sarian getting us on the Jumbotron. He was working for it, John. I got more. He was working for it.
You were working for it.
Well, I saw the camera guy come to our section. I
running up and down the steps, trying to get everybody fired up. Why no one else standing up in this 9th inning?
That's what I said.
You had the hands waving up in the air. It was
trying.
Great. Till Matt LaFleur, like, come on, it's 3rd down, come on.
Except for the
get loud, come on.
Except for the clowns downstairs trying to start like wave.
Right
in the 9th inning, when we're trying to have a rally, we're trying to win a game, trying to make the playoffs, win a world championship, and these guys are trying to start the wave downstairs.
Hey, John Morosi said Brewers,
like
second best team in the MLB right now.
The POF or whatever?
According to Baseball Reference, playoff expectation, 96%. Only one more, the LA Dodgers.
Over the Yankees even?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I like that.
Go tell that to Matt Schneidman. 414-799-1973. Before we do that, let's go to the NicoletLaw.com talking text line. What was that one?
That was.
What are we doing
talking
here?
Text line there?
What are we doing here on this talking text line? Is this talking text line working?
All these sounds today.
Is this
driving? Is he driving?
This Richard in a cell. He's up on 9 to noon.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you got on this, Richard?
Hey, and it's not just the commentators; it's sports people in general. They don't want to call them out the way they see it and say, "Hey, you had a bad game today. You suck," because they want to be friends with them.
What?
And I'm not saying you guys all want to be friends with the sports people, but you got to start calling them out when they play like shit. Oh, shit.
Nice.
Sorry.
There we go.
Out.
Great job, screener.
Just 2 of them.
All right, there we go.
Why
Just
it's
2 of
my
them.
fault he swore? I can't help that. I mean,
Well, first off, it sounded like he was in a wind tunnel.
well, I couldn't help that.
Was he under a jet engine at General Mitchell Field?
He said he was driving for work. I said, all right, we can get you on. You know, it sounded fine, but you can't swear in this air, guys. You can come on all day, tell us we're wrong, tell us we're the problem, but you can't come on. You can't come on this station and swear. I'm sorry. You can't do it.
I also had no idea what he was talking about. Like that was the
It's
better
your
part.
fault, Billy.
It's our fault.
I dropped him. No. I
had
him.
no idea what that caller wanted to say
because it's also you guys.
Because
it's your
you
fault.
screened him, and the first thing he said
Why are you blaming
was an
me?
FCC violation.
Don't
I
blame
have
me.
no idea what he wanted to say. Now, what was his point, screener?
He said we didn't call out. He said
all I heard was friends because you want to be. I don't want to be friends with anybody because I've never met any of them. I've never met
none of them.
One of the. I met Pat Connaughton one time. Great dude.
Does he mean pro athletes? In
I don't know
general?
if he wants to be friends with me, so I don't care. I don't care. I'll call Pat out for jumping, wildly in the air during games. Actually, I like the effort of Pat. I'll honestly say it like that. If I'm going to criticize Pat, I'm going to say this: I like the effort. It's really hilarious when you're flying in the air.
Appreciate
Arms
the thought.
Swinging like you're jumping off a 20-foot bridge into the water.
You're ready for a meme. It was fantastic. Like I just and if it's the injury thing, what have you? I don't know. Like we had Roger and Franklin saying earlier today, or just a minute ago, trying to explain injuries is hilarious. Not enough rest, too much rest, not at a physical apex. It's priceless. Well, you do try and figure out how you can mitigate this risk because now it has been that and the Boston Celtics, the Miami Heat, and now the Indiana Pacers are the reasons why you got bounced out of the playoffs.
And let me say something to Roger here. It's different than football. In football, you try and start the season at your peak physical shape, knowing that each week you're going to get nicked down and binged down and taken down, and you're trying to withstand. However, by coming into the season at your peak physical performance, you can withstand the 17-game toll, right? So by the end of the season, your body's about 80%, but you can still play in these games because after 17 regular season games, you just had a little bit taken off and a little bit taken off and a little bit taken off, that you're at about 80% your peak physical ability at the end of the season. But there's another thing too. There's a football shape that you can't get with training and everything else. So even though you're at about 80% of your peak physical ability, you're locked into football mode. So you should be humming at the end of the season too. Basketball, it's not like that. Basketball, they don't come into the season in their peak physical shape. It's too long of a season. They play too many games, and they'll break down and inevitably have an injury that sets them back. And then they have to come back from the injury. And then if you're coming back from the injury, by the time you come back to play, you're not back to peak performance, peak ability. So that's why you have to use it to build up, and you have to hit that apex as you hit the playoffs. That is a known fact. Talk to a sports nutritionist, talk to a trainer, talk to any kinesiologist out there. They will tell you that is fact.
Yeah, and it's all about figuring out how on earth you're going to walk that up to get to your peak performance and be ready to go. They got to find a way to have the majority of these dudes healthy, because if you do see it healthy, I don't think anybody in the Eastern Conference wants to see these guys in a 7-game series when everybody's clicking on all cylinders and healthy. We just weren't able to see it this year, and I still believe this continuity of Giannis, Dame, and Chris Middleton for a full off season going into a regular season, you got to give them a full shake. You got to give them a full run. And with, it appears a coach that is not going to get gassed mid-season, not going to get fired after. Actually, he's going to get more duty, which is an interesting balancing act. There we go. Deviation Don was asking earlier today about his Nooner Day tickets. Where's the link? Got him. Send us the screenshot. Do what Deviation Don did. At 9 to noon on social media, at the game MKE, at Bill Schmid Radio, at Coon J30, at Armin Sarian. You can find it right on mine at Bill Schmid Radio. It's the pin tweet. It's the pin tweet at 9 the number 2 noon on Twitter. Go and get your tickets now for June 26th, because Nooner Day 5 is going to sell out, and it is too filled with surprises and potential prizes for you to miss out. Hour number 3, always our best one yet. It comes up right after this. Features a Coons Can't Miss and way, way more. 9 to noon on the game.
See?
a lot of girls be thinking my song, this one's for you. Baby, you my everything. You all I ever wanted. We could do it real big, bigger than you ever done it. You be up on everything. Other whole thing never own it. I want this forever. I swear I can spend whatever on it. Cause she hold me down every time I hit her up. When I get right, I promise that we gon' live it up. She made me beg for it till she give it up. And I say the same thing every single time. I say you
9 to noon on the game. That's what they always say about hour number 3. You, the best. Best of the day, every single day of hour number 3 on 9 to noon. Thanks for hanging out with us. I'm Billy Schmid, Armin Sarian on the 1s and 2s. John Kuhn, 2-time Super Bowl champion, hanging out with us. And John, I mentioned during the break that, hey man, world of rap is an interesting place right now. Not only like I'm leaving the world of Diddy alone, like all that kind of stuff. And
okay, that's good.
We got guys going back at
well,
it.
that adds to the weirdness.
Right, that adds a lot to the weirdness. I'm just saying, like that's like the foundation. That's the level of weirdness that you step up to, you box jump onto it, and then everything starts from there. Kendrick Lamar, Drake going back at each other. This is far from a diss song. This is a beautiful thing to say about some people. But I like the fact that hip hop is going to get a little bit angry at each other once again, because that's what made it good, when people would fight with each other and then we get great music out of it. If Taylor Swift hadn't had her heart broken so many times, we wouldn't have so many great songs for Armin to enjoy and people to go on the era tours for. So sometimes we can't all have the great moments like, Travis Kelce pulling her up on stage at the 15 Mahomes event blacked out. We can't have those great moments if we don't have the trials and tribulations. So we need some fights in this hip hop world that bring us back to some of the glory days, I think.
Yeah, I mean, definitely 90s was the heyday of.
It's never going to get all the way back there, I don't think.
We don't need the violence, but, but it was so much fun, all the diss tracks and everything. And yeah, if we're gonna do some beef now, I can't understand hip hop anymore. The damn auto tune has taken just about everything out of it for me. I can't understand what these guys are. When Post Malone really started hitting the auto tune, I got no idea what he says half the time. And now he's doing country, which really throws me for a loop.
Oh, talented dude, man. And interesting spot of the face tats. You never go back from that, right? Like
it's true. You can never turn back.
Yeah, you're never turning back from that. That's a look you're locked into for life.
When you got the old school, face tattoos, and then the grills in, but you're rocking Wrangler jeans and flannel with a tank top underneath with pit stains on it. Doesn't look like he took a shower in about 2 weeks. I mean, it's amazing. He went from dreads to deads is what he's done.
Instantly.
Man, it's crazy.
Man, people are like, the Twitter sphere is an absolute hotbed right now after this Kendrick Lamar diss. We have not listened to it at all.
No,
but it sounds
it's
like
a big deal.
Dude, it is a big deal.
Yeah.
Everybody
there might be an FCC violation in that, Armin. You might want to screen that.
Oh, I don't think I'm going to play it on the air after what happened with Rich and on the cell. I don't think I'm going to be doing that because I'm going to still wait.
Yeah, we might have you retire from the screening situation here for the day.
I maintain I screened the guy fine. It's not my fault. He swore and I hit the dump button. So what do you want me to do? Sorry, Rich in Milwaukee. He's told me he forgot he's in the radio. Well, I'm sorry. I have to remember you.
He told you that he forgot he was on the radio?
Yeah, I don't know what that's about. So I'm just letting you know my position on the topic. I still don't know what he was getting at. Apparently, you guys had to stop becoming friends with athletes.
You got to stop.
You all want to be friends with them. Oh, apparently, you don't call anybody out. All right, whatever.
Who does he want us to call out?
I don't know, John. I really don't know. We couldn't get the end of his call because he messed up.
I mean, I'll call out the umpiring staff last night and whatever it was at.
Of course, you don't want to be friends with them.
No, I'm not trying to be friends with any of those guys.
We call out plenty of guys, but haven't we called out plenty of guys in this air from time to time when it's warranted? I think we have.
I thought our conversation about Bobby Portis yesterday was fantastic.
Exactly.
As you go right back at it, and we had differing opinions.
I must want to be friends with Bobby Portis. That I said I got no problem with what he did. I mean, to me,
buddy,
that didn't warrant getting kicked out of the game. And then I love the whole. Yeah, I'm arguing the validity of the call. And it's he's got to know not to do that in that game. Well, that's kind of what Bobby does. That's kind of his shtick. That's what I was supporting there. Well, now I don't know Bobby. I'd like to be friends with Bobby. I'm not gonna lie. I'd like to be friends with Bobby.
Seems like it'd be a good time.
I'd have a cold one with Bobby.
Yeah, 100%. That's the thing. I mean, I'm not trying to be friends with him, but hey, I think we're friendly guys. It's one of It's also one of my.
He would not want to be friends with you, Arm.
Probably not. It's one of my lines of demarcation
until he found out you're a freak, and then he'd say, "Oh, well, yeah, maybe I need to meet this guy."
He'd be a friend.
He's watching what?
He'd be a bigger fan.
Yeah, let me check that out.
Let me get that Snapchat. Yeah, let me add on that Snapchat.
Yeah, nothing weird.
Armin, would you send a snap of Laura to Bobby if you guys could be friends?
I mean, if Bobby and I had a close friendship like that, and something funny happened.
Well, that's not the question. The question was if it means you could be friends.
Yeah, if it would make you close friends.
I don't care about necessarily being friends with Bobby that much. I guess I would if it was fine, it was appropriate or whatever. I don't care. I never thought in my life that question. I never pondered that question in my life. Would you send a Snapchat of Laura to Bobby Portis?
I can't believe your answer is this long. It could have just
of just hanging out, or no, or like a selfie of both of us out at the park. Maybe I would. If it was just a selfie of us at the park or something.
And then he says, and then you text that to him and he sends back. Actually, same picture, just without you.
No.
Crop
we're not doing that.
Ugly guy out.
No, we're not doing that. I don't think that's going to be a situation I'm going to find myself in. I don't see that happen.
Well, listen, if you're not prepared for it, you're going to get turned upside down even worse than you were right there when that question was asked.
You're right, Billy. I better stay prepared. That's a good point. Yep.
You got to be prepared for those situations.
Got to be.
You prepared for this situation that line guy 920, speaking of Bobby Portis, put in on the NicoletLaw.com talking text line? I think Bobby will get booed at first tonight because I believe a lot of fans are mad at him because of the start of what he did to the team last game. I was adamant. It was a dumb decision. It's a huge mistake. You just cannot get thrown out of that position. That being said, I won't be one booing Bobby Portis tonight.
Nope.
I'll be chanting Bobby, Bobby, Bobby tonight. You know why? Because I think it does help at home more than on the road, John. And like this situation here tonight, you need anything and everything in that building to bring some energy. And he will bring some energy. I'll be chanting it. Hey, we've all done dumb stuff in the heat of passion, in the heat of the moment. Doesn't make you a bad person. Doesn't mean that I have to hate the man. Hate the act. And I'm supporting that man here tonight. I think more Bucks fans will do the exact same thing. What about you? You think anyone's booing Bobby as he walks onto the floor here tonight?
There'll be a couple knuckleheads booing Bobby tonight. Yeah, because they'll remember that, and you know that's what you get. Unfortunately, when you lose a game and you're seen as a big part of the reason for that loss. I mean, even Trey wouldn't say they would win if Bobby stayed in there, but Trey was saying it was dumb. And Trey, you know what? When you ask, do you think people will be? Trey will be booing Bobby tonight on his television screen. I can tell you that.
I actually don't. You know what? It might have been dumb and all that, and I agree with that. We've talked about it now for a day. I wouldn't boo him, though. No one's going to boo him. I think there's no one's going to put that negative energy. No one's going to try and get on him. No one's going to be that upset at Bobby. Even if he wasn't this cult hero, which he is. Booed? No. Come on. 2 days no, you're a fan of the Milwaukee Bucks. You're wearing Milwaukee Bucks. You're going to cheer for your players. You're going to support them and try and create an environment of them to play well and winning and try and make it hostile to the other people. You're going to save your boos for the Indiana Pacers and Halliburton,
Miles Turner,
right. and Miles Turner and Nembhard.
How about you miss a shot one of these times? Who was Miles Turner?
The real perpetrator, Andrew Nembhard. Well, you save it for them. No one's going to be booing Bobby Portis.
I still don't understand that one too. You know, nobody's like really talking about the Nembhard going after Bobby thing.
Yeah, he goaded him into it.
He goaded him into it. He picked him up.
He went at him.
He knew what he was going to do.
So he pushed Bobby first.
He was their plan.
Back, and then he charged Bobby.
He got him going. Who's the real villain?
A double ejection.
Yeah, or at least single technical. Should have been even.
No, because Nembhard doesn't go back at him again.
Yeah,
like, I mean, we can litigate it again, but but it is. It's the baiting in. Well, so Nembhard gets the Bucks fan smoke here tonight.
Yeah, but that's where we differ here. Because as I watch the replay, I see Nembhard get pushed by Bobby, and Bobby's push is much more physical than Nembhard's initial push. So Nembhard goes in, head down, arms out towards Bobby.
Correct. Then they get pulled. Then they get pulled apart.
That's an aggressive move.
Yeah. Then they get pulled apart, and then Bobby tries to take his headband off.
Yeah, you can't go at us. You can't swing back at him like that.
That's the only thing. Because I'm with you all the way until that they start to get pulled apart. Then we try to take the headband off. I'm booing the heck out of Nembhard tonight.
Of course, our job is to be
That's
tribal.
where the hate goes.
Yes.
That's where the frustration from Bucks fans goes. Let's go channel that towards the Indiana Pacers. I love that promo you just cut, Armin. Sorry.
Hey, our job is to be tribal. Our job is to support our team. and not try and just be even like we're not litigating. We're not Judge, Wapner out here. We're not Judge Mathis. We're not trying to litigate something. Our job is to be tribal and support our team. And hopefully it's enough. And Billy, I'm glad you're going. I'd like to try to, but my point is, I hope it's enough to try and push us over to a Game 5 win. I think if the Bucks are going to win, though, the Pacers, and Mike Heller loves this term, have to be complicit. Pacers have to start playing worse than they played, because whether or not the Bucks are shorthanded, the Pacers have also hit a lot of shots. They made a lot of threes. What did they shoot? 53% last game?
53% from three last game, and I think Miles Turner was 7 of 9.
We need them to roll up.
Yeah, you can't have that.
With Correct. A more, human, like a 32% performance or something like that.
I like this one from Billy and Mequon. If you go to the game tonight with the intent to boo your team, stay home. You are the same people that went to game 2 of the Wild Card series and booed the Milwaukee Brewers. Now I'll boo Chris Cuccione tonight. If I was at Brewers and Rays, I'd be booing whoever was behind the plate. Ryan, whatever his name is, that Chris Cuccione had to stand up for in the pool report. I'll boo those 4 guys in the umpire outfits. No doubt about it. Not the own team. But Curtin Wausau said, "Man, screaming sorry, it needs to relax in there a little bit."
Whatever. That's okay. That's fine. I'm okay. I'm all good. Don't worry about me. Yeah, Brian Knight was at third. I can't remember the young man at first or at home behind home plate.
Yeah, no one cares. Nick and Grafton sounds like Armin would be booing at people booing Bobby, and that's where some of the reaction goes to tonight. Go in with an optimistic attitude. I think they're going to win the game tonight. I don't know how, by hook or crook. I think they're going to win tonight, and potentially let the chips fall where you may on Thursday night. But that's where you're at. And as much as this has been a frustrating end to what had been a very, very optimistic, very excited season, hey, it doesn't always go the way you plan. Now you got to live in the reality that we're in. And the reality is we're watching right now, and I'm talking my fiance, John Kuhn, off the ledge here a little bit. He's a big Pat Mahomes fan, right? Pat Mahomes on Monday Night Raw last night hands his 3 Super Bowl rings to Logan Paul to beat up one of the good guys. Big deal going on in the household. I got to talk her off the ledge there. More importantly, if you would, give us a can't miss so then I could buy a nice gift to be able to, ease some of this frustration in the household.
The man can't miss. Time now for Coons Can't Miss. Presented by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Bet big, bet bull.
Need it.
Well, we had a big one yesterday. If you missed your investment, your chance to more than double up on a parlay that absolutely hit.
Well done.
You're going to want to listen in today. And we'll talk more about that parlay in a second. But first, I was talking with Luis yesterday from Potawatomi Casino Hotel Sportsbook. And I said, Luis, I got people on the talking text line that are feverishly asking, what type of ceremony are we doing for the grand opening that takes place this Friday in just a few short days, May the 3rd, for the new sportsbook to open at Potawatomi Casino Hotel Sportsbook. It is the biggest sportsbook outside of Vegas. We already know this because of the renderings, because of the drawings. And if you've seen any of the pictures or the videos from inside that sportsbook behind the curtain that they have hanging up right now, you would know that it is absolutely true and that you could walk into about 80% of the sports books in Vegas and know it's bigger than 80% of those. Yeah. There's a couple in Vegas that are bigger, but not many. And this sports book, you could go coast to coast in the United States and see, but you're not going to see anything quite like this outside of Vegas. That's the absolute facts. That's the absolute truth. And there is a ceremony going down. 9 to 11 grand opening ceremony this Friday. Potawatomi Casino Hotel Sportsbook. Make your way down there. I know Scooby was asking.
What do you 9 to 11?
9 to 11. You can't make it.
We're on the air.
I know.
That's all right.
You're not going to.
That's all right. I know it's
you're not going to be
us.
able to cut the ribbon unless you take. Maybe you should take off. Actually, maybe you should.
Should I take off?
Do what you want.
I think you should get an excused absence to go down there, cut the ribbon with the big scissors. Those big gold scissors that they have.
Sure, I want to
go down there, cut that ribbon with the big gold scissors, and as the first person goes in, beat them, run in front of them, cut them off.
That would be great.
Throw a little forearm shiver to knock them off their path.
Do Zabe on the beach at Sunburn Bowl to a blind man and just throw him to the ground as you're running in there to place your first bet. I would love to see you do that. We can put that on StreamYard. Tell Tim it's all about digital assets, baby. We want to go digital. Go digital assets.
Content,
get that down. I will allow it. In fact, I'll text him for you when we get off.
You don't have to. I don't mind being here working, but I was wondering, is it like one of those
deals?
This
is way more important.
Well,
we need this video.
Is it one of those deals where it's like opening ceremonies, but they're going to be open before, like the night before? Sometimes they do that, Sometimes it's like soft opening. Opening, but it's not going to be. They're opening at 9 to 11, John, on Friday.
I was told 9 to 11 is the grand
All right.
opening celebration at Potawatomi Casino Hotel Sportsbook this Friday. Make your way down there. Take off of work. You're going to want to. You're going to want to see this. It'll be the first one in there. And then send a picture to Armin and make him super jealous, and he'll meet you down there exactly at 12:30.
That's okay.
That right now.
I'll have my own opening ceremony. Is the first time I'm there. They'll be like, hey, I'm here for the first time.
All right. Yesterday,
this is my first time here.
Yesterday, we had Oklahoma City winning by 4.5. That cashed in.
Yep.
Cha-ching. And then we had the Lakers +7. That cashed in. Cha-ching. We know the Lakers lost by 2. Their season is now done. And LeBron will not speculate on what is going on in his future. He thinks he knows. He's got secrets, but he's not telling everybody. He's not telling anybody, in fact.
So quit
Don't worry about that. I got that parlay to hit, though. So if you missed yesterday, listen up to. Do we go 2 parlays 2 days in a row?
Well, you got 2 wins. You got 2 wins for that. I said I told you I'd do that. So,
well, thank you.
Keep
You're
the heat
very
going.
generous.
I know. Keep the heat going if you want. Do you want to do that?
I'm gonna run this back.
Come on now.
I'm stuck on a bad page here. I'm trying to get back.
A lot of good, interesting bets tonight. I would say when you start really looking through.
This
Bucks
thing has
bets.
me stuck on the over/under of 215 points for the Bucks Pacers.
So I guess that's where you're looking.
Yeah.
All
I'm
right.
stuck there, which is not even the over/under. Yeah, it is over/under 215 Bucks Pacers.
Magic Cavs another low over/under 201.5, but it's been hitting the under.
I hate to say this. I think the Pacers are good at 4.5. I do. I'm not going to bet it though.
Oh, thank goodness! You couldn't bring those vibes to us.
I think that's a good bet, but I'm not going to bet it because I'm hoping that it goes the other way. But I will swing to a Cleveland Cavalier Orlando Magic. I think the Cavs are good to win this one by 5. That thing is tied up though, isn't it? 2-2.
It is home teams.
That series got incredibly interesting. But I like the Cavs tonight -5 and the over. Let's do another parlay. Let's try and get another 2 more, Armin. Let's do the unthinkable and cash in back-to-back parlays. Cavs -5 and over 201.5.
All right, why
I love
not?
this aggressiveness.
It worked yesterday. Let's stay aggressive. Cavs -5 to cover and over 201.5. The parlay. Let's try and hit another daily double, right?
What's that parlay pay?
+260.
Oh, about the same as yesterday. So you want to more than double your money? Go ahead and hit that Coons Can't Miss.
That's what I'm talking about. I love this parlay conversation. Makes it way more fun. Makes it way more enjoyable than when you step up to the roulette wheel and you potentially even have more cash to be thrown around there. John, before we take a quick time out, you mentioned the LeBron thing. My man always makes it ambiguous when he steps off at the end of a season, doesn't he? Like when I read the quote, I read it as, well, what else is he supposed to say? They just got bounced. They're on the road, wants to get out of here. But the smile as he walks off of, I'm not going to answer that, and puts the microphone down and a smile. I'm like, hey, just don't smile and it's okay. And then nobody has a story for it and has to have questions about you coming up at the end of it. He does leave it just very ambiguous right at the end. Knows what he's doing.
In a similar way to what Aaron Rodgers does, LeBron does the same thing when he's talking with the media.
Good comparison.
Very similar. And it's like, I know I got secrets, and whether I'm vaccinated or immunized, it doesn't really matter. I mean, it's one of the same, and only I know which one it is. So all the rest of you can forget about it and talk about it. And in LeBron's case, it's like, come on, man. Either just say, well, I don't know. Either say, yeah, I have thought about it. Lead them to another question. You don't have to give them anything. You can play with the media without playing with the media.
Say it's too early to think about it. Game just ended. You know.
But they actually asked him, have you thought about this coming into the playoffs? I'm not answering that question.
I'm not answering
That's how it sounded.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
And then he got up and walked, and he didn't.
That means yes.
Smile out of it.
I mean, that means yes. That absolutely means yes.
Yeah, like he doesn't want to say yes, but it is.
Well, it might be it's a little disrespectful to your teammates if you admit to thinking, yeah, I'm thinking about that. I'm not playing here next year going into the elimination game.
Okay, so then if you're worried about your teammates' feelings, and
sure,
do we really think LeBron's thinking about his teammates' feelings? But if that's the case, why not just say, no, I haven't thought about that yet?
That's a good question. He could have just said that. You know what? I didn't think. It didn't cross my mind. I was focused on the game.
I actually think it's more insultful to his teammates because it leaves the question out there. LeBron thought about this being his last game. And man, he was already cashed out right at the end of the game.
That's true. The question, the caption on Twitter said LeBron on if that was his last game as the Laker. But actually, that wasn't the question. It was, did you think about the possibility
that this could be your last game as a Laker?
Which is totally different, right? Totally different, actually.
I also think people are going to be upset with whatever he would have said. Like, there's too many people that have their mind made up about LeBron that anything he was going to say last night was going to get roasted.
Oh, so true. I think that's true. People make their minds up about him, but you have to acknowledge that things like this is what created.
Oh, dude, so the little smile on the walk is.
But if you're going to get roasted, why give them the marshmallows to roast? Right?
They're going to
don't give them.
But again, like I said, they're going to roast whatever he said. If he said no, I didn't. Well, BS. He's lying. All he does is ever lie in these microphones. I don't know why anybody even listens to what the guy says.
But there's certain things you can roast that actually are roast worthy, and there's other things that you roast where you just sound like a hater, right? Give them the stuff that makes them sound like a hater. That's my point.
Yeah, and I think most people still sound like haters just because they want to poke and prod at random things that he'll say that is just but they made their minds up on him.
I think if you answer that question quickly with I didn't think about it once, I was focused on the game, I don't think anyone would have been roasting him for that. I don't think we would have been talking about it. I don't think it would have been a story.
I agree with Billy. People would have still
found
something to be upset about.
People would have still hated on that answer, but they would have sounded like fools versus now I think LeBron sounds more like the fools than the haters.
Yeah, I don't see it that way, but I understand why so many people are always in their feelings about him, always upset. Like JB in the 920, who likes to really talk about other people in a negative light. Latul. I've never seen that guy say really anything good about people on this talking text.
Well, not about LeBron, that's for sure.
It's fascinating. 414-799-1973. It's the NicolaLaw.com talking text line. We got a lot more, like a 414 texter who said, I'm banned from Twitter. Was still able to find the Nooner Day link. No one should have an excuse. Let's go unnamed in the 414.
Yes, that is the grind we're looking for.
That's what I'm talking about. He said, I had to download and make a new account just so I could get over here and get those Nooner Day tickets. He did it. He
is now Eggman C3559.
He probably could have called the Brewers or something, but hey, that's okay.
But that's better. I like that grind.
New Twitter link.
That's what I'm talking about. 405-414-799-1973. And get your Nooner Day 5 tickets as well at the 9, the number 2 noon on Twitter, at Bill Schmid Radio, at the Game MKE, Coon J30, Armin Sarian. It's 9 to noon on the Game.
I'm getting Barney Gravy Crockett. Never take a L no more. Never take a damn thing slow. All I know is chase this dough and get money. Where would I be without you?
Where would I be without my
Baby, since all alone might break me, and I don't wanna go crazy, but every dog needs a lady. Gotta feel like you and I've been more than together.
Hour of 9 to noon brought to you by Happy Place Hemp and happyplacehemp.com. So everybody relax. Promo code is Billy, Billy, to get 25% off your entire order every time at happyplacehemp.com. Or say it to Rob and Chris when you go and visit them in their store in Muskego off College Avenue. Tell them Billy Schmidt sent you and you'll get that discount. And you'll also be able to go and check out their Drift Seltzers, THC, CBD infused citrus seltzers. No alcohol, no calories, no problems. Also free shipping if you get three or more 4-packs as well. But you can get their full lineup of legal and locally produced hemp products, CBD, CBN gummies, Sleepy Time gummies, Delta 8s, Delta 9s as well. It's pet products, tinctures. Try a tincture if you don't necessarily want to go gummy-wise for your first time. There's no need to go all over the country. Happy Place Hemp is making it legally and locally right in Muskego. You shop local for everything else. Why not your hemp products? happyplacehemp.com. Fellas, this one came across yesterday and meant to get into it, then didn't, because we were talking about a lot of vibrations with our 6 to 9 morning show yesterday.
Vibrate with urgency. Wasn't that what it was, guys?
Well, there's some urgency for a former 5-time Pro Bowler, Jarvis Landry, who is expected this week to participate in the Jaguars rookie mini camp. So Jarvis Landry, as I mentioned, 5-time Pro Bowler. You remember the name, Miami Dolphins, also with the Cleveland Browns for a little bit, New Orleans Saints for a little bit. After sitting out last year with a couple of different injuries, Landry is fully healthy, 31 years old, is grinding, wants to get back into the league. And John, he's going all the way back to a rookie mini camp to try to earn himself a spot. I love it. And I love this mixtape that he dropped of him working out. Looks good. And he's an athletic dude that's still, when you talk about guys that just know how to play and get open, Jarvis Landry, when healthy, always knew how to get open and a physical inside receiver. I love it.
Yeah. And here's the deal. There is a take of, man, a young guy could potentially be bounced from this rookie mini camp because you're taking a spot. And should a team be able to bring you into a rookie mini camp? Of course, you're going to look better than rookies. You know, you've been running routes for a decade in the NFL. You've been catching passes, for a decade from quarterbacks in the NFL. You already know everything from the playbook. You're not even going to have to study these basic Betty installs that you're going to have here for this rookie mini camp. So you're going to look far better than all the rest of the players. So why, do you need to come into the rookie mini camp to do this? But for a guy who's been out of the league for a year, he's literally trying everything. He's doing everything. Mike Daniels spent a year on the practice squad in Cincinnati just to get the call up for the Super Bowl.
It's amazing.
I mean, some of these guys, in their dedication to play one more game, one more snap, is so much fun. And I love this out of Jarvis Landry, and I will root for him to make the team in Jacksonville.
Yeah, I didn't anticipate him getting roasted on the comments like he was doing. I mean, it was not as positive as I anticipated, John. The first one, and Armin, you'll like this. You guys seen the movie Benchwarmers?
Yeah, okay.
When they're sitting there and the 3 older guys go and play all the Little League baseball teams, and then they bring in the one cat who's drinking beer and vodka and tequila right on the mound, hands him the birth certificate. I am 12. That was Jarvis Landry showing up to rookie mini camp saying, hey, there's $5 in here. Don't worry about it. I'm in. More guys. I
think it's
time to go be a family man. Jeez, let's go. Let's calm down. I was not expecting him to get fried in these comments.
You can't get a job.
Just trying to work.
I think it's because it sounds funny to some people because it's called rookie camp and he's going in as a 31-year-old. Is that the reason? Otherwise, I don't understand is a guy that doesn't want to give up. Is there something wrong about that?
He filmed a commercial to say he isn't washed. That was one of the comments in here as well. I mean, you do have to prove it to somebody. And if somebody's not giving you a chance, John, just to walk into a training camp, go and earn it. There's a lot of competition, and Brian Gutekunst talked about it with the Packers. That's one of the reasons why they continue to get younger, is because they feel like the sense of urgency and the competition continues and is, more vast with the younger players who haven't really proved anything. It's a dude that's proved a lot, and he still is going to prove more.
And I think about, I mean, in baseball every year, you find a guy who's 30, 32, getting his first crack at a major league game.
Yeah, great
and
example.
We applaud that. You know, I understand this is different, that Jarvis Landry has probably 8,000 yards receiving in the NFL. So I understand that's different, but it's kind of the same. It's a guy that's, you know, he hasn't had a shot in a long time now, and he's really willing to mop the floors to get one more chance at this job that he loves so much, his career that he loves so much. And you got a finite time. You got a finite time to do this career. You can't come back and do it again when you're 40. Like if you lose the love for the game in your 20s and you miss out on a year or two or something like that, hey, you don't ever get those years back. And Jarvis Landry right now, I mean, he's got maybe a couple cracks at this thing left, age-wise, is so to speak, as a wide receiver. So I love the fact that he's trying to do this. I love the fact, you know, that he's really saying, I will do anything for one more chance. He just wants to get into a camp and prove people wrong. Now, the thing that does suck about this, and I don't know if there's a number limitation that you can have for rookie minicamp. I'm not exactly sure how that goes. So if he is potentially taking a spot away from a young guy, from a young rookie that could have his one chance, that's the one bad side to this.
But you know what? That's the competition of sports, though. I mean, even as any other position in your career, when you earn a spot in any pro sport, you're taking someone's spot away in theory anyway. Right. I mean, there's a finite amount of spots on the team. Yeah. So he shouldn't feel like he's doing something wrong for that. It's his right to try and make a team. It's his right to try and play the sport he loves. Yeah. I think we're all in agreement on this. You know, I applaud it. No problem with this. It's a good thing. Yeah.
If they don't give him an invite to training camp, should the Packers? I mean, their receiver room is pretty filled up at the moment, but we talked about it all last year. They didn't have necessarily a veteran presence. What would you think if he doesn't stick in there? Would you give him that chance to make this team?
See, and Goody has done this a little bit, but he's done it with young guys, right? He's done it with a lot of young guys where he'll bring a guy in, doesn't like what he sees in 4 days. Boom. Yeah, let's fill that 90th spot with somebody else. Let's get somebody in here that could potentially make the team. And I would absolutely take a shot on a Jarvis Landry. Let him come in for a couple of days, watch him run. Because here's the truth: a lot of times you see these guys when they come in, especially after. I mean, I was watching a little bit of Des Bryant when, and I was watching on the television screen, but he went into Baltimore, and I'm watching him run, and I'm thinking, this guy's a shell of what he used to be. A shell. Like, would you? After you see that for a couple days and it doesn't improve and it doesn't get that burst back, do you hang with that? Do you roll with that? Probably not, but I would give it an opportunity.
I'd absolutely kick the tires. I'd give him a chance, not only just because of this, but also one of his sound. I can't remember if it was when the Dolphins were on Hard Knocks or if it was the Browns on Hard Knocks. I want to say the Browns, and it may have been the year that Hugh Jackson had the worst possible month of his entire life.
Yeah.
All documented by HBO on Hard Knocks, where he just laid into the receiving room of, hey, fellas, if you're hurt, then you don't have to practice. But if you can practice, let's get out to practice and start earning something. Where he just laid into the entire receiving room. We can't have this. That's not going to continue to fly here. I don't see why you don't give him potentially a chance when you're talking about a dude that a couple of years ago, I mean, he had 100 targets for the first 7 years of his career and was unable to play in New Orleans at all more than, 5 or 9 games in 2022, takes a year off, heal his body, give him a chance, see what it works like. And you mentioned it, John. Goody's unafraid to bring you in for 3 days. Hey, thanks, but no thanks. Not working. No feelings are going to be hurt in that situation.
Did you see some of the rookie free agents we got? Do you see we got a Badger?
Holy cow. I saw the email. Your boy, Pete Bowden. There we go.
Long snapper. We got competition, baby, all the way around the board.
Long snapper is a huge situation, huge positive for the Green Bay Packers. They leaned in on special teams with all the draft picks. Craig Joseph coming in to bring in more competition across the board. I love it. Then we get red hot Tim Knott. I'm rooting for JAARP Landry. Come on, man. Give it up, Gramps. Oh, that's just wrong. What are we doing this for? And just trying out here trying to earn a living, trying to get himself a job.
31 is not old. I played till I was 36.
Yeah, and there's a lot of wide receivers that are doing exceptional things at 31 years old. I love it. 414-799-1973. We'll round third, head for home right after this, and a special star of the Mike Heller Show that you're not going to want to miss in 20 minutes. It's 9 to noon on the game.
And if I listen, I can hear you through my radio. You're not right. choose the rhyme. Rhyming chose me, so I hit the
Round
track
third,
right.
head for home, and an extended version of our Quick Trip takeaways of the day. Take homes brought to you by Quick Trip. Need something for dinner tonight? Do not cook. Stop by your local Quick Trip. Pick up a freshly prepared, absolutely delicious take-home meal. You might even find there some fantastic spaghetti, chicken Alfredo, even a salad.
Chicken Alfredo, potatoes, salad. He likes to stick to what he knows.
I just want to see how much you remembered. That's why that was the
little
what
test.
the pause was all about. Yeah.
No doubt about it. And there's an extended one. First off, we got to give a shout out to one of our faithful Nooners.
We have to do that. Yeah. Glennon Greenfield, you guys know one of our favorite Nooners, Glennon Greenfield. Mrs. Glenn gave me a call today during the show.
Yeah, and I get scared when that happens. That's like, guys, when a very famous former player or famous actor is trending on social media when you wake up in the morning.
Yeah.
You're like, oh no, what do we do?
What's going on? It's
What
the whole
happened?
I had the whole human version of the Denzel. meme. She said, I wanted to call you. I'm assuming he didn't want to do this himself, but she wanted to call and congratulate him on today, his retirement, 44 years driving trucks, and he's retired today. So congratulations, Glennon Greenfield,
My baby Glenn.
one of our greatest, one of our greatest Nooners. Enjoy your retirement. I would suggest by starting off by going to Nooner Day. I would suggest with a little, that's
a good
the
way to
start your
celebrate.
party. But let's hear it for Glennon Greenfield, everybody out there. You guys know him, you love him. He also made homemade pickles, dropped them off for me at one of our Nooner Day events from the garden. 44 years and he's retired. All right.
So Armin can be bribed.
I was just gonna say, John, so he can be bought.
No.
You bring him homemade pickles,
Well,
and Armin's gonna make you his favorite Nooner.
That has nothing to do
Armin
with the
is
pickles.
very impressionable.
Maybe, but this
It had
has
nothing to do with Glenn's pickles?
No, Mrs. Glennon Greenfield called me and let me know, and I said,
Or her pickle.
I said, Mrs. Glennon Greenfield. I'm gonna let that one pass. I said, Mrs. Glennon Greenfield, thank you. I'm gonna shout him out in the air and congratulations to Glenn. That's a good accomplishment in a man's life, right?
Yeah,
there.
it is. No doubt about it. It's a big one. It's a big one. We're big fans of that. And as somebody that was able to celebrate my pop's retirement a couple of years ago,
Yeah,
big day.
big day,
Big day. My dad had that thing counted down, John, for like 400 days. He was
So what is your dad's hobby now? What does he do? Does he golf? Does he fish? What does he do?
You know what he did? Got another job.
Are you serious?
Yeah, 100%.
I was gonna say his hobby was catching
mice at my house.
Yeah.
Yep.
He was vibrating with urgency for the mouse. You know what I'm
Big time,
saying?
big time.
Vibrate with the kind of urgency.
Yes, indeed.
And by the way, he got him.
he got him. Ladies
He got
and
him.
gentlemen,
We got him.
Yes.
Sends me the picture. Job's done. There we go. No, but yeah, he decided. he's like, we got him. I got way too much free time here, so I'm gonna have to go do something. Otherwise, I'm gonna drive myself crazy.
Got
but
another job.
really, a full-time job is taking care of my house because I can't do anything. with it. Can't do anything with it. And
all
or I'm going to the Bucks game tonight. He's gonna be on standby at 11 o'clock or so. Once I get back out to the car, see if I left it running or not. To be able to help us out. Because John, that's a full-time job. Being able to keep track as to what the heck I got going on throughout the day. Guys, get this one. So this came up throughout the show. And John, you've been known to play a game on the golf course, be able to win a game on the golf course. Mike Heller always talks about the favorite part about winning games against your friends on the golf course is the cash being handed out and exchanging hands at the end of the day. Well, when you go to Dave & Buster's now, they are allowing you to do potentially the exact same thing. Dave & Buster's announced today that their loyalty members will be able to bet on arcade games against their friends with real money wagers. For adults 18 or older, be able to place real money wagers on arcade games. The technology is available within the coming months. Customers now can soon make a friendly $5 wager on Hot Shots basketball game,
My favorite unit.
bet on skee ball, or any other arcade game. The betting function expected to launch in a few months will work through the company's app. Now, that is the only issue. I prefer when I go and run Armin in a best-of-7 game on Pop-A-Shot.
Sure.
I want that cash hitting my hand instead of the Venmo or the Dave & Buster's app giving me a direct deposit. That's a hell of an addition where they said, wait, people like gambling on stuff. We should do that here and have them gamble on themselves.
Yeah, I'm fascinated by this. This is gonna really make it a lot of fun. The only unfortunate part is who am I going to gamble against when it's just me, Ella, and Lily? I mean, neither one of them are 18. I'm gonna have to call somebody over. Hey,
can you guys gamble?
John's gonna be looking at all the other dads.
I got
this interesting.
Lily. Elle's taller, Elle's older, but I got Lily. $5. Me and you. Let's go.
Is this gonna be tough? Like
you suckered me.
Yeah,
you ran me on a bet.
Yeah,
John,
you knew the little one could shoot better.
Like, how are they gonna set lines? Like, how are they gonna know? Can people take advantage of this? I'm thinking of potential problems here. Like, you know what I mean? Is there any way to run around this? And I guess not if you're betting with each other. You're not betting the house. Right?
Yeah, I mean it's friendly money. It's between the two, which again makes it feel like it's easier to just say, "Hey, I whooped you. You owe me $20 at the end of it," instead of going through and putting it in and tallying it up, leaving a paper trail.
It's
really how much you're investing.
Right. It's really interesting actually to think about this.
It's fantastic though.
And if you want it, are they taking a juice from this? Are they taking so
that I'm not able, I haven't been able to fully lock in on the part of the story,
because if so, why don't you just do it amongst each other?
They said they sought to capitalize on the recreational wagers taking place between peers. The company has raised about $14 million in investors, including billionaire investor Mark Lazary.
Oh my gosh, really? That is awesome.
Alongside athletes John Eisner, Julie, and Zach Ertz in the Raptor group. They have all loaded up money.
Well, Mark was busy now too, or not busy anymore. He's
not busy anymore. He's got all this money. Yeah, he got all this cash by selling his 25% stake in the Bucks.
That's funny.
They are careful to not use the term bet or wager to describe their games. We use real money contests or challenges, as it'll be social gambling. When you go to Dave & Buster's, had one blog site say that this is we are reaching another problematic level in our world society of betting.
Oh boy. Oh, here we go. Here we go.
Is it a problem when we're playing left, center, right at Christmas Eve?
That's true. Yeah, we do that. Yeah.
Right. Is it a problem when Kuhn and I at Nooner Day are running the bags table and taking a fin from everybody because all challengers are walking up, catching a fat L, and walking back over and finding the surprises? I think that's competition between peers. Been happening for years.
I still don't understand why the app is necessary for a $5 wager.
That's the thing.
Is it just to ensure you get paid? Is it because they think two people are going to walk up to Pop and Shot at the same time and say, let's get it on? Two people that don't know each other, don't trust each other, but want to ensure that they get paid from the other.
Oh, that's true.
Me and you right now, $5.
Let's go.
Boom.
That's awesome. There's going to be fights. And more importantly, lines. All the kids are like, dude, I just need 24 more tickets to be able to go get my fun dip. Well, you guys get off the skee ball machine.
Yeah, it's true. The adults are going to take over with the kids.
So, so much for Dave & Buster's being a kids event anymore.
Like the kids are going to band together and push the adults up because you guys already had this. It's called
You guys
casino.
have had it for the last 3 hours, okay? Let somebody else play. We're going to let somebody else play. David Sinekin is going to sit in for our guy, Mike Heller. Now, let me tell you a little something about David Sinekin. We're going to cross it over here. John, this man has been fighting the good fight for over 2 decades.
And he's not related to Brian Noe, so all of you can stay listening.
Doing a Packers show in Minneapolis, fighting against Viking fans, tooth and nail every single day for his existence.
God's work. It is absolute God's work.
And he's not Brian Noe.
Correct. He's not. Correct.
And he's not Brian Noe. And you get to enjoy him coming up next. And we're going to cross it over with David Sinekin. On the other side, I'm fired up for this one. Been listening a long time and love the work he does. You're going to love it from noon to 3. For John Kuhn, Armin Sarian, I'm Billy Schmidt. Let's go get a win tonight and extend this thing to Indiana. Armin's going. I'm going. We'll see you at Fiserv Forum, and we'll be better tomorrow on a Wednesday. It's 9 to noon on the game.
I got the bases in. I'm kind of stingy, that's why I don't want to win. A funky rhyme to a foe or a good friend. But listen up, because I want you to comprehend. Because I'm the leader, the man.